asking, can we see the risk before it comes and becomes a crisis? Can we prevent before we respond? Can we build awareness before we build intervention? And can we make safety a shared culture rather than a shared concern? That is the journey we celebrate today. Ladies and gentlemen, a journey that has brought together the police, industry, institutions, and communities across different dimensions of safety. Today, the journey touches women, children, the digital world, our roads, our physical spaces, and our health. But before we begin, there is something particularly special about today's evening. We are not just celebrating where SCSC has been, we're also asking where SCSC goes from here. And there is no better way to begin than by hearing from the person who leads SCSC today. It is my privilege to invite Dr. Ramesh, IPS Commissioner of Police, Cyberabad, and Chairperson SCSC to deliver the welcome address. Sir, may I invite you on the stage, please?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you at the outset for accepting our invitation and graciously coming over here. అందరికీ నమస్కారం, హార్దిక స్వాగతం. 23 ఆగస్ట్ 2006 సంవత్సరం SCSC సొసైటీ ఫర్ సైబరాబాద్ సెక్యూరిటీ కౌన్సిల్ అనే సంస్థ ఆ రోజు ప్రారంభించబడింది. ఆనాడు సైబరాబాద్ కమిషనర్గా ఉన్నప్పుడు ఆనాటి కమిషనర్ శ్రీ మహేందర్ రెడ్డి గారు ఇండస్ట్రీ పెద్దలతో కలిసి, ఎందుకంటే అక్కడ ఇండస్ట్రియల్ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ కార్పొరేషన్ అనే ఒక సంస్థ ఉండేది. ఆ సంస్థ ఇండస్ట్రీని పలు విధాలుగా విభజించి ఐటీఈఎస్, ఫైనాన్షియల్ సెక్టర్, హెవీ ఇండస్ట్రీ, ఎంఎస్ఎంఈస్, అలా రకరకాల జోన్స్గా విభజించి ఎక్కడ ఏ క్లస్టర్ డెవలప్ కావాలి అని ప్లానింగ్ చేసే దశలో సైబరాబాద్ పోలీస్ కమిషనరేట్ 2003 సంవత్సరంలో అక్కడ స్థాపించబడింది. అప్పుడు ఈ కమిషనరేట్ యొక్క ముఖ్య ఉద్దేశం ఏమిటంటే, కొత్తగా ఏర్పడుతున్నటువంటి పారిశ్రామిక మండలి ఈ ఇండస్ట్రీని నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్కి తీసుకెళ్ళాలి, ఒక మంచి లాంచ్ ప్యాడ్ ఉండాలి అంటే పోలీసులు దానికి అనుగుణంగా పనిచేయాలి. మీకు అందరికీ తెలుసు, గతంలో పోలీసుల ప్రయారిటీస్ ఏ విధంగా ఉండేవి. కన్వెన్షనల్ పోలీసింగ్, రెగ్యులర్గా గస్తీ తిరగడం, పెట్రోలింగ్, కేసులు ఇన్వెస్టిగేట్ చేయడం, దొంగలను పట్టుకోవడం, కోర్టులో కేసులు ట్రయల్ చేయించడం, ఇది కన్వెన్షనల్ పోలీసింగ్ వర్క్. బందోబస్తులు చేయడం, ఫెసిలిటేషన్ ఆఫ్ పబ్లిక్ ఈవెంట్స్, లార్జ్ పబ్లిక్ గ్యాదరింగ్స్, ఇది అందరికీ తెలిసిన పోలీసింగ్. అయితే ఈ విశాల హైదరాబాద్ నగరం విస్తరిస్తున్న క్రమంలో, కొత్త కొత్త ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ వస్తున్న క్రమంలో, ఔటర్ రింగ్ రోడ్ మరియు కొత్త అంతర్జాతీయ స్థాయి విమానాశ్రయం హైదరాబాద్కు వస్తున్న తరుణంలో అక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి సైబరాబాద్ కమిషనరేట్ ఏ విధంగా పనిచేయాలి, ఆ పోలీసులకు ఏ విధమైన దృక్పథం ఉండాలి, ఎలా ఈ ఇండస్ట్రీ పోలీసు కలిసి పనిచేసి కమ్యూనిటీకి సహాయపడాలి, ప్రభుత్వం యొక్క లక్ష్యాలని సాధించడానికి సహాయపడాలనే ఉద్దేశంతో ఏర్పడింది ఈ సంస్థ. ఈ సంస్థలో ఇండస్ట్రీ, పోలీస్ మరియు కమ్యూనిటీ పార్ట్నర్గా ఉంటూ ఇండస్ట్రీకి కావాల్సినటువంటి సౌకర్యాలన్నీ కూడా పోలీసులందరూ ఒక ఎనేబులర్గా ముందుంటూ చేస్తూ వస్తున్నారు. ఇది ఎన్నో సందర్భాల్లో ప్రభుత్వాలు, ప్రభుత్వాధినేతలు కూడా అక్నాలెడ్జ్ చేశారు పోలీసుల పాత్ర గురించి. ఈ ప్రగతిలో, ఈ ప్రోగ్రెస్లో, ఈ డెవలప్మెంట్లో, ఈ గ్రోత్లో ప్రతి చోట కూడా లా అండ్ ఆర్డర్ ఒక కీలక భూమిక పోషించింది. ఈ కీలక భూమిక పోషించడానికి SCSC అనే సంస్థ బాగా తోడ్పాటును అందించింది. ఎందుకంటే ఇండస్ట్రీ వాళ్ళు, పోలీసులు కలిసి ఈ సంస్థతో పనిచేసినప్పుడు వారికి ఏ అవసరాలు ఉంటాయి, దాన్ని ఎలా మనం తీర్చవచ్చు, తక్కువ ఇబ్బంది కలుగుతూ చట్టాన్ని కూడా ఎక్కువ ఉల్లంఘించకుండా అన్ని కాంప్లైన్సెస్ చూసుకుంటూ వాళ్ళ పని సాగే విధంగా ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ డెవలప్ కావాలి, ఇండస్ట్రీ నడవాలి, గ్రోత్ రావాలి, జీడిపి పెరగాలి, ప్రజలకి ట్యాక్సెస్ రావాలి, ఎన్ని లక్ష్యాలు నెరవేరాలి అంటే ఈ చక్కటి సంస్థ అన్ని ఫలితాలను మనకు అందించింది. ఆ ఫలితాలన్నీ మీరు చూశారు ఇప్పటివరకు, ఇంకా చూస్తూనే ఉన్నారు. ఇంత చక్కటి సంస్థ ఈరోజు కేవలం ఒకే ఒక రూపాయి మెంబర్షిప్తో ప్రారంభమైంది. ఈరోజు కూడా ఒకే రూపాయి మెంబర్షిప్తోనే ఉంది. ఇలాంటి సంస్థ ఏది కూడా ప్రపంచంలో లేదు. బిగ్గెస్ట్ నాన్ ప్రాఫిట్ పోలీస్ అండ్ ఇండస్ట్రీ అండ్ కమ్యూనిటీ బాడీ ఇన్ ద వరల్డ్. వీఆర్ వెరీ వెరీ ప్రౌడ్. ఈ సంస్థలో నాకు కూడా యాజ్ కమిషనర్ ఆఫ్ పోలీస్ హోదాలో ఈ సంస్థలో భాగస్వామ్యం పొందినందుకు నేను చాలా గర్వపడుతున్నాను. నా కొలీగ్స్ అందరితో పాటు కలిసి గతంలో పనిచేసిన ఆఫీసర్లు ఎంతోమంది, మనకు ఇప్పుడు ప్రజెంట్ డీజీపీ గారు కానీ, గతంలో పనిచేసిన డీజీపీలు కానీ ఈ సంస్థకి కమిషనర్ సైబరాబాద్గా ఉన్నప్పుడు ఈ సంస్థని నడిపారు. ఎంతోమంది ఇండస్ట్రీ ప్రముఖులతో కలిసి నడిపారు. ముఖ్యంగా కోవిడ్ లాంటి మహమ్మారి వచ్చినప్పుడు బిజినెస్ని ఎలా బ్రేక్డౌన్ కాకుండా నడపాలి, బిజినెస్ రెసిలియన్స్, కంటిన్యూటీ, ఎక్కడ ఎలాంటి ఇబ్బందులు కలగకుండా. అదొకటే కాదు, మీరు ఇంకా కొంత వెనక్కి వెళ్ళినట్టయితే తెలంగాణ ఫామ్ కాకంటే ముందు తెలంగాణ ఉద్యమం నడిచింది. చాలామందికి తెలుసు సీనియర్లకి. తెలంగాణ ఉద్యమం నడిచినప్పుడు చాలా చోట్ల బందులు అవి జరిగినప్పుడు ఇక్కడ పనిచేసే సంస్థలు అంతర్జాతీయ సంస్థలకు పనిచేస్తూ ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళకి ఎటువంటి ఇబ్బందులు కలగకుండా వితౌట్ ఎనీ డిస్రప్షన్ ఇన్ దర్ సర్వీసెస్ పోలీస్ విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ SCSC వాళ్ళని స్మూత్గా పనిచేయడానికి అవకాశం కల్పించింది. ప్రత్యేకమైన బస్సులు ఏర్పాటు చేసి వాళ్ళందరినీ కూడా సమయానికి ఆఫీసులకు రావటము, వాళ్ళ సమయానికి, అంతర్జాతీయ సమయానికి అనుకూలంగా పని చేయించడానికి ఈ సంస్థ తోడ్పాటును అందించింది. ఇంత చక్కటి సంస్థ, ఇంత పెద్ద సంస్థ, ఇన్ని సంవత్సరాలు అయినా కానీ దీనికి ఈక్వల్గా, దీనికి సమాంతరంగా లేదా దీనికి కాపీ కొట్టి ఇంకొక సంస్థ ఎక్కడ ఏర్పాటు కాలేదు. కేవలం మన తెలంగాణలోనే మళ్ళీ హైదరాబాద్ నగరంలో మేమంతా కలిసి అప్పుడు అంజనీ కుమార్ గారు సిపిగా ఉన్నప్పుడు 1922 సంవత్సరంలో 21వ సంవత్సరంలో హైదరాబాద్ సిటీ సెక్యూరిటీ కౌన్సిల్, తర్వాత రాచకొండ సెక్యూరిటీ కౌన్సిల్, ఇప్పుడు మల్కాజ్గిరి అయిపోయింది. ఇలా అన్ని జిల్లాల్లో కూడా వేస్తూ వస్తున్నారు. ఎందుకంటే ఈ సెక్యూరిటీ కౌన్సిల్ అనేది పారిశ్రామిక అవసరాలని, పెరుగుతున్న పారిశ్రామిక అవసరాలని పోలీసులు వాటిని మిళితమై వాటికి అనుగుణంగా వాళ్ళ వర్క్ని టైలర్ మేడ్ చేసుకొని మలుచుకోవడానికి ఉద్దేశించిందే ఇటువంటి ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్. ఇటువంటి ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ ఇంకా రావాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము. ఈరోజు మా ఆహ్వానాన్ని మన్నించి అందరూ మా 2 దశాబ్దాల ప్రస్థానాన్ని ఈరోజు సంబరంగా ఒక పండుగలా జరుపుకోవడానికి మేము సంకల్పించినాము. ఈ 23వ ఆగస్టు మర్చిపోకూడదు ఉండాలని ఒక 4 చక్కటి విషయాలపై చర్చా కార్యక్రమాలు, చర్చా గోష్ఠి, వాటిలో నిష్ణాతులైన ప్రతిభ గల వ్యక్తులందరినీ కూడా ఆ ప్యానెల్లో పెట్టి ఈరోజు 20 సంవత్సరాల సందర్భంగా ఆ చర్చను ఈరోజు జరిపి ఆ చర్చ జరిగిన సారాంశాన్ని కూడా ప్రజల్లోకి తీసుకెళ్ళడానికి, ఇంకా దాంట్లో మంచి పాయింట్స్ ఏమైనా వచ్చినట్టయితే SCSC లేదా సైబరాబాద్ పోలీసులు, తెలంగాణ పోలీసులు ఇంకా మెరుగైన పని చూపించడానికి పనికొస్తుందని మేము భావిస్తూ ఈరోజు ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి వచ్చిన మీ అందరికీ మరొకసారి నమస్కరిస్తూ స్వాగతం పలుకుతున్నాను. ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని నడపవలసిందిగా మా కొలీగ్ నవీద్ గారిని కోరుతున్నాను. జై హింద్.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving the complete insight what SCSC is all about and how we are expanding it. 20 years of institution is never an achievement of one person. It is the result of many people believing in the same idea year after year. And the spirit of partnership has been the heart of SCSC from the very beginning. There are people who witness a journey and there are people who help shape it. Our next speaker has been closely associated with the journey of SCSC and has played a crucial role what you see SCSC today. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to invite Dr. Krishna Yedula, former Secretary General SCSC, SVP Virtusa, to deliver the keynote. Krishna, may I request you to please.
Thank you, Navid. Respected Dr. M. Ramesh Garu, Police Commissioner, Cyberabad and Chairman SCSC, Ms. Srijana Garu, Cyberabad Municipal Corporation, Joint Commissioner of Cyberabad Police, Sanpreet Garu, and all the DCPs, ACPs, the leadership of SCSC, including the EC members and industry leaders and friends from the media. A warm welcome and a happy good evening to all of you. Today, I feel most privileged, honored, and blessed to stand before all of you on the occasion of celebrating our 20th year of existence of SCSC. I am also blessed to be part of this great institution right from day zero, not even day one, day zero, when the then Commissioner of Police, as Ramesh Garu said, Mahendra Reddy Garu, got this idea that we should have a collaborative body between the police and the industry, because the IT industry in those days was very much existent in Begumpet, Somajiguda area, and it just started migrating towards the western corridor of Cyberabad. And there were a lot of concerns, vulnerabilities with respect to safety and security of not only IT establishments, but also the employees working for these institutes. Because if you see, today we see a complete developed IT corridor, but back in those days, there were just cyber towers and then cyber gateway and few other private IT parks, like SoftSol is another IT park those days, right? Small building. We used to feel very proud with such small establishments or small IT parks. We never imagined that, this will become so big today. And Mr. Mahendra Reddy Garu had this vision in his mind that we should be prepared right from today. And there is a need to establish a forum like this, which works towards, because it's a shared responsibility. It's not just the responsibility of government. So we had multiple meetings in the CHIP auditorium of CyberTars to brainstorm with the industry leaders. Those days, companies were very few. I can think of Vandenberg IT Park was there, which has Barn Infotech. Then there was Mallikarjun Rao Garu from SoftSol. Then Major PJ Rao from L&T Cyber Towers. And then HSBC, Dinesh Thakur. Then Gunalan from Infosys. And Raheja team, Ravindranath and Balraju was there. Then later, of course, Shravan took over. So like that, I can name a list of 10 or 12 industry leaders. And believe me, it was so difficult for some of us to go to each of the companies to convince that they should take membership in SCSC. They were all questioning, it's a government's responsibility, why should we pay additional? We are paying property tax, we are paying other taxes, why should we pay? So we had to explain with a proper presentation. Mahendra Reddy Garu was very good in, actually taking that role of a CEO of a company. I mean, he was never looked like a commissioner of police. He was like a CEO of a corporate. He used to explain the benefits. And a lot of SOPs were drafted those days, and then which created a platform for bylaws to be registered. And on very today, 23rd of August, way back in 2006, this organization took birth. And I'm so blessed that I've been part of the leadership team, either in the form of an executive committee member right from the beginning, or as a joint secretary, or as a secretary general, all through. And I'm also fortunate to say that I've worked very closely with all the 10 commissioners, right from Mahendra Reddy Garu to Ramesh Garu, so closely. And everybody are so progressive, are so industry friendly. Every thought was taken very positively and worked towards it. It was a very inclusive organization, I must say. And if I name, after Mahendra Reddy Garu came Prabhakar Reddy Garu, then Dwarka Tirmal Rao Garu, then Naveen Chand Garu, Sandeep Shandilya Garu, C.V. Anand Garu. When C.V. Anand Garu, the current DGP of Telangana, when he came, whatever was the way SCSC was functioning, he has actually given a heavy lift and completely changed the way SCSC has to perform and give its impact to its members. And thanks to Barney Orol also, who joined at that time as Secretary General. He, along with C.V. Anand Garu, has taken a lot of initiatives. What you see today, She Shuttles, that's the idea which came up from C.V. Anand Garu and Barney together. Then Margadarshak, what we have seen, has took birth during the tenure of these two leaders. And the Command Control Center for CCTV. CCTV cameras were there, but there was no command control center those days. Today we have a huge command control center both in Cyberabad as well as in ICCC. But back in those days, we had a very small room, but then we ensured that there's a large screen, somebody monitors it with little bit of video analytics those days. But SCSC was the first organization which collaborated with Cyberabad Police to provide those QRT vehicles, to create those checkposts, right? And take up many such initiatives en route. But each of these tenures by either commissioners, the chairmen, and the secretary generals. I would say SCSC 1.2, 1.0, SCSC 2.0, SCSC 3.0 when I took over in 2019, then again SCSC 4.0, Ramesh Kaza, again bringing a lot of value addition along with the commissioners, Avinash Garu, Stephen Ravindra Garu, and Ramesh Garu now. I think organization is only growing towards positive way and also adapting itself to the changing requirements of the industry. Back in 2006, when SCSC was formed, the biggest threats were physical threats, right? The terrorist attack, the lone wolf attacks, those were on the mind those days. So I could see Octopus doing drills, in the IT corridor and all that. But now it is all about digital threats, the cyber threats, right? So, and then of course, women's safety and various other things, especially the students. So a lot of programs have been taken up, Kavach, Project Kavach and all that. Wonderful initiatives. If I keep naming the number of initiatives, I would think that it will run beyond 100 initiatives so far. But a lot of good initiatives have been carried forward, but by each successful chairmen and the secretary generals. That's the best part of this organization. 20 years now, I mean, it's just, I would say 20 years is just a number, or 2 decades is just a number. SCSC today is still the unique organization after 20 years that world has not seen. We still stand as one single organization which is not existing anywhere across the globe, not just India, anywhere else. Now, during COVID pandemic, you all have witnessed how this organization has gone beyond just safety and security to humanitarian grounds to help and save lives for the citizens and do many, many initiatives during COVID pandemic along with Mr. Sajjanar Garu. And even after that, as the need comes, Ramesh Garu spoke about the Telangana agitation. Not a single dollar revenue was lost by any company who's operating from Hyderabad. That was, in fact, the biggest question that every industry leader has. How do we, come across? But fortunate to the leaders, political leaders, and the administration, they worked very closely, and not a single cab was stopped, not a single bus was stopped. It was business as usual. Similarly, during COVID pandemic, Hyderabad became the first city in the country to move to work from home within a span of 1 week, enabling all 650,000 IT workforce within a span. Then realized Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Pune, Delhi, they thought how our branches who are operating from Hyderabad could actually seamlessly start working from homes. How is it possible? Then everybody said there is an already established organization called SCSC, which is collaborating between industry and the police. So these are some of the things, that the companies benefit, the industry benefits when such an organization exists. So I think all of us have contributed good. In fact, the member companies, I would like to mention some of the few. Rayaja Mindspace always has been the front runner in terms of generously supporting any initiative or project that is taken up. Then we have Shrikant Badiga. Then we have a lot of other companies, especially during COVID pandemic. We never got to any members. They came forward and said, we are routing all our CSR funds to the COVID. Of course, that was the need. And many things were set up. A hospital was set up in a span of 3 days, which is very unheard of before. World's largest single venue vaccination of inoculating 40,000 people is also a world record, actually, those days, right? So like that, the list goes on and on. I must say that SCSC has survived all weathers. Of course, there were in between periods where SCSC was not very active in the early days after it was set up because all the SOPs were set up. There was not many new initiatives were taken up because industry was still growing. But then we have seen a lot of momentum that picked up after 2015. And in the last 10, 11 years, all of you are witness to it. It has become a brand by itself, working very close, hands in hand with Cyberabad Police. And one other initiative during Stephen Ravindra Garu's days is setting up a center of excellence for cyber security. I mean, I can see Kalmesh Garu here, Ritiraj Garu here, who worked relentlessly to establish that COE. I can see Ram Ganesh here, who was part of that initiative. So I think a lot of people have put a lot of efforts in making this organization what it is today. So with that, and also I would like to thank our media friends. They were always there for us to spread whatever, especially during COVID pandemic. They were our messengers to the entire citizens. What is happening at the epicenter of Cyberabad? They were the messengers. They used to carry this message across to people who are living in the gated communities. Margadarshak is another initiative which was cloned and created as Sangamitra because everybody is working from home. The domestic violence cases have gone up during COVID pandemic, right? The women employees who are working from home are facing challenges at home. That's when we thought of cloning this Margadarshak into Sangamitra, a friend in community that got created with the involvement of the secretaries and presidents of gated communities along with some women and male occupants of those buildings, right? So like that, the list goes on. In fact, our media friends here know more than us what SCSC has actually carried out, and they have carried so many articles and news items, across. And I feel very, very privileged and honored to be part of this great organization. And let's look forward for the next 20 years on what we can do better with all the like-minded leaders that are here. And SCSC Secretariat is growing by the day. I'm very happy that we are able to actually increase the number of verticals, horizontals, right? And also industry verticals. And all the leadership. And Ramesh got a new concept, Ramesh Kaza, that 2 in a box is a good concept because otherwise it puts a lot of load on a single person. I've seen myself. I used to, always take this as my first responsibility. In fact, in Virtusa, where I work, that I have a day job that I am the center head for a company called Virtusa, where I have 2 hats. I lead the center at Hyderabad, which is about 10,000 employees. And I also take care of the global function for administration and sustainability across the globe, covering 31 countries. So, and then I had a family to take care, but I always used to put SCSC in front of everything else because I know that, this will help millions of people, right? So congratulations to all of us for this great milestone. And I don't want to, extend, I keep on speaking if I go in depth, but I don't want to take time because we have 4 great panel discussions that have been lined up and I would like to give time to that. And thanks to Ramesh Garu for the very thought that we should celebrate to begin with. I mean, there are larger celebrations which are in the pipeline, but very thought that the same day that SCSC was incorporated and established, that we should have an event, that too on a Sunday evening. Hats off to you, sir, for taking that initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Krishna. I'll let you stay back, sir. May I please request you to please felicitate Krishna. And Krishna, we assure you the fort that you have set up, we'll make sure that we carry it forward with the same zeal and same passion. Can we have the memento, please? Thank you so much, Krishna. Thank you for bringing in a glimpse of last 20 years in front of us. We really appreciate what you did, and we cannot thank you enough. Let me start with a question. When was the last time you truly felt safe? Was it when you walked home late at night? Or when your child came home safely? Or when you entered a workplace where you felt respected? Or simply when you knew that someone would be there if something went wrong? Safety is sometimes measured in numbers, but feeling safe is deeply personal. And that is where our first conversation begins. Ladies and gentlemen, our next topic of the panel that we would like to invite everybody is, what does it mean to feel safe? And more importantly, how do we create spaces where women, children, and next generation don't just remain safe, but feel confident, free, and empowered? We have a distinguished panel bringing together voices from administration, policing, and industry. To lead this conversation, may I invite our moderator, Mr. Devapalli Amar, editor, Mana Telangana, and manager, trustee, Media Foundation, Education Foundation India, along with our distinguished panelists. May I also request Praveen Polaram to please come and honor the distinguished moderator. Can we have the bouquet, please? May I also request the fellow panelists to please be ready. Ms. G. Srijana IS, Commissioner Cyberabad Municipal Corporation. Mr. Shadrini Reddy IPS, DCP Traffic 2. Dr. Vanita Datla, Joint Secretary Children and Youth Safety SCSC and Vice Chairperson Managing Director Elico Healthcare Services Limited. Ms. Tanuja Aburi Head, People Partnering Lloyds Technology Center. With that, I'll hand it over to Amar to take it from here. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
The first place, let me congratulate the SCSC and everybody who is part of the SCSC in the last 2 decades and made it to this. I really appreciate and congratulate the police department, industry, and the other people who are involved in this. And yes, he is the first, sorry. See, first topic we are taking up now is creating safer spaces for women, children, and the next generation. When the Commissioner Cyberabad, Ramesh Garu, asked me to come here to moderate this session, I accepted, and they have sent me, Nancy Garu and some others have sent me the details. They have sent it in English, but the participants are free to speak in Telugu or English, whatever they say. But I got the brief in English, so I prepared a small introduction in English only. See, we journalists are more used to writing, not to speak on the public dais generally. So, safety is not limited to effective policing or prevention of crime, I believe. Feeling safe has a broader meaning. It is about how our cities are designed. It is about our footpaths and transport systems. It is about how we protect children both physically and digitally. It is also about whether women feel safe and confident at their workplaces and in the gated communities in the IT corridors. Today we have 4 different perspectives from 4 distinguished women panelists on what it means to create safer places. So first I will go to the Cyberabad Municipal Corporation Commissioner Srijana Garu. Cyberabad Municipal Corporation is a newly created one. Cyberabad Police Commissionerate is there for a long time, but Municipal Corporation is created very recently. And my question to you, Madam, is what is the administration doing to address issues such as poor lighting, safety on cycle tracks, better footpaths and traffic crossings, public toilets, rain-related issues, parks, and last-mile connectivity?
Thank you, Andy. Andariki namaskaram. So before I go to the question, probably I was from morning, Sir adiginappu nunchi, CP Sir adiginappu nunchi, this thought is triggered as to what is safety, rightly initiated by Amar Garu. This is a question about probably 20 years ago, when I was still not into the services. I was thinking about what I should do with my life. I was working in an NGO, and as part of it went to the juvenile home for girls in Nimboli Adda. I was working on their education. Somehow I felt um, getting education there is more important. So in my own idealism, I was trying to counsel them. I was graduating in psychology. Probably I thought I'm a psychologist in my own merit. So started counseling those kids, saying education is more important. Why their choices were wrong, which is why they ended up there, and how is it important to make a choice there and get into education. So every day relentlessly వాళ్ళతో కూర్చొని మాట్లాడి ఎవ్రీ డే ఇంకా అంటే మనం చేసేదే కరెక్ట్ అని మనం అనుకుంటాం కదండి ఆ టైంలో. సో అలా మాట్లాడుతుంటే వన్ డే వన్ గర్ల్ వాజ్ 14 years old. I think she put up with me for few days with whatever ranting I was doing with her. But one day she lost it and said, "Do you really know? అసలు నువ్వు ఎప్పుడన్నా రోడ్డు మీద ఒక్కదాని మీద నించున్నావా అని అడిగారు. I still know, I remember the tone in which she spoke to me. I can still see her now. I mean, the way she asked me, నువ్వు ఎప్పుడైనా రోడ్డు మీద ఒక్కదాని మీద నించున్నావా? అసలు అలా నించుంటే ఎలా ఉంటుందో తెలుసా? నిన్ను బాగా పెంచుంటారు కదక్క, నీకు అన్ని మీ నా తల్లిదండ్రులు అందరూ ఇచ్చుంటారు, నీకు చెప్పడం చాలా సులభం. So that question, I think, is something that I still try to answer even till today. In whichever role I am, I still want to answer that question and probably be part of a solution, not remain a part of the question yet. So picking up from that thought, I was నిన్న నుంచి అమ్మాయి బాగా గుర్తొస్తుంది when I saw this question in front of me. So to begin, until we understand the definition, మీరే చెప్పారు ఇందాక, until we understand the definition of what is safety, we'll never find an answer for that. And generally safety, safe environment అనుకున్నప్పుడు we only think about protecting ourselves from crime, protecting our body from something going wrong with us. But that is a very restrictive, protective probably yes, but very restrictive way of thinking what safety is. And మీరు చెప్పినట్టే safety is more of an enabler to allow a person to thrive, allow a person to live freely. So that's where probably we also become collaborators in this understanding safety as a concept from the administration point of view, jumping right into where you have called me for this. So again, rightfully, and most of the words that I have written for myself, you've already said maybe briefly, but again, my job, ఒక మెగా అర్బన్ ఎకోసిస్టంలో మనం పనిచేస్తున్నప్పుడు there is no working day. Every day is a working day. Everybody has to live in this. So it's a 24/7 city, and మనం అనుకున్నప్పుడు the idea of or the concept of safety also is 24/7. So never is safety restricted to a day or a time or a gender or a category or a stakeholder in the society. So it's something which is we live, breathe at every point in time. So in addition to being protective, in addition to being restrictive, safety is also allowing the child to play in a neighborhood. Safety is also allowing a child or kid going to school to cross a road safely, walk on a street safely. Safety is also a woman who is free to choose to work at any point in time and making the roads, the neighborhood safe for them, choosing public transport safer for them, using public toilet is safer for them. Maybe for an elderly or a person with disabilities, making a safe and accessible footpath also is a safe environment that we would be processing. And ivanni kuda part of municipal corporation as city administration lo bhaganga cheyavalsina contributions. Physical and social infrastructure ni safe for a person, safe for a society at large, will only enable us to thrive and live more freely. Abandoned dark spaces, abandoned both physically, figuratively, abandoned spaces on priorities and dark spaces and priorities will only make our society and our individual selves vulnerable. ఈ అన్ని మాకు సరిగ్గా అర్థమైతే మేము చేసే పనులు కూడా వాటిని రిఫ్లెక్ట్ చేస్తాయి. అంటే ఎప్పుడైనా దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ డిస్ట్రప్షన్ ఇస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఫర్ అస్. సంబడీ స్టాపింగ్ అస్, సేయింగ్ అండ్ ఆస్కింగ్ అస్ టు థింక్ Do you prioritize all these things in the way you work? Pratidi that I've said, and specific reference to children. I've seen a video, ఈ మధ్య ఒక చిన్న షార్ట్ ఫిల్మ్, సిటీ ఫ్రమ్ 100 centimeters height. అంటే సిటీ ఫ్రమ్ ది పర్స్పెక్టివ్ ఆఫ్ అ చైల్డ్. 100 centimeters వాళ్ళు ఇంతే ఉంటారు. వాళ్ళ పర్స్పెక్టివ్లో సిటీ ఎలా ఉంది, ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ ఎలా ఉంది, ఫుట్పాత్కి ఎక్కగలుగుతున్నారా, రోడ్డు క్రాస్ చేయగలుగుతున్నారా, పార్కులు వాళ్ళకి సేఫ్గా ఉన్నాయా, సో అసలు రోడ్ అంటే ఏమిటి, మనం వాళ్ళ గురించి ఆలోచిస్తున్నాం. ఆర్ వి డిజైనింగ్ స్పేసెస్ ఓన్లీ ఫర్ ఎల్డర్స్ ఆర్ ఆల్సో కన్సిడరింగ్ దెమ్ యాజ్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ డైలీ థింకింగ్. సో ఏదో ఇంకొక ఆర్టికల్ ఏదో చదువుతూ, ఇఫ్ ఐ డిజైన్ అ సిటీ ఫర్ అన్ 8 and 80-year-old in my thinking, then I'm making a city for everybody. So I'm still with the idea of a definition. So if నా definitions ఇవన్నీ నాకు as an I represent a system, I represent a bigger city administration కాబట్టి ఇవి నాకు నా వ్యవస్థకి ఎంత విస్తారంగా అర్థమైతే మా పనిలో అవంత ఇంక్లూజివ్గా ఉంటాయి అనుకుంటాను. సో ఆల్ దట్ వీ హ్యావ్ స్పోకెన్ is something that we need to do. Maybe రకరకాలుగా చేస్తున్నాం, బట్ ఆ డెఫినేషన్ క్లియర్గా ఉండాలి అని చెప్పగలుగుతాను.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సృజన గారు. అట్లాగే మనతో ఇంకో ముగ్గురు ప్యానలిస్టులు ఉన్నారు. ఒకరు పోలీసింగ్లో ఉన్న శేషాద్రి రెడ్డి గారు, ఐపీఎస్ ఆఫీసర్, అట్లాగే డాక్టర్ వనిత దాట్ల అండ్ తనుజాపూరి గారు ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళతో కూడా మాట్లాడదాం. శేషాద్రి రెడ్డి గారు చెప్పండి ఒకటి, ఫర్ అ ఉమెన్ ట్రావెలింగ్ అలోన్, where do you think the greatest vulnerability lies today? On the road, in public transport, during the last mile, or in poorly lit areas? How can citizens work alongside the police and administration to improve safety? And how can technology help in this process?
Okay, andarki namaskaram, good evening, a pleasant Sunday evening. So firstly, I like to share okati main thing from police perspective, safety for women gurinchi. One personal anecdote, personal life experience I'd like to share. So this is around, I think in 2020 anamata, nenu oka mock test ichanu. I was preparing for the exam. Mock test isse I was feeling very dejected, and I told my parents ki no chalo, we have to go to Kashi, నాకు బాలేదు అసలు. సో ఇట్ వాజ్ అ వెరీ ఇంప్రాంప్టు ట్రిప్ వి ప్లాన్డ్. ట్రైన్లో వెళ్ళిపోయాము, అప్పటికప్పుడు బుక్ చేసుకొని దొరికితే అది. వి డిడ్ంట్ ఈవెన్ బుక్ అ రూమ్ దేర్. వెళ్ళి రాత్రి 12:30 అరౌండ్ we landed in Varanasi, and we were in a frenzy. We were looking for a room. మాకు ఒక చిన్న రూమ్ దొరికితే చాలు అని. I just blindly took my parents, and they were also like, వెళ్ళిపోయాము అండ్ అర్థం కావట్లేదు. And then finally some నెట్లో సర్చ్ చేస్తే I found an OYO room. So chalo, and I told them they booked. And then adi nizanga chuste there was no room there. We just found an auto person. So nen teeskelta ani cheppi he was taking us in that state. Adi em place o telidu. First time we went to that state, UP. So we were just going. So 100% almost నాకు అర్థమైంది that we were going to face something very, very bad. అన్ని కైండ్స్ ఆఫ్ డూమ్స్డే సినారియోస్ నాకు కనిపిస్తున్నాయి. అయిపోయింది, ఇంకా బుక్ అయిపోయినాం ఈరోజు, వీడు ఎక్కడికో తీసుకెళ్తున్నాడు అని. సడన్లీ, అండ్ వీ వర్ షౌటింగ్, వెన్ వీ స్టార్టెడ్ షౌటింగ్, ఐ స్టార్టెడ్ షౌటింగ్, ఆపు ఆపు ఆపు, రుకో అంటే దెన్ హీ ఆల్సో సడన్లీ అనిపించింది. అండ్ ఇమ్మీడియట్లీ అక్కడ ఒక పోలీస్ కానిస్టేబుల్, హీ వాజ్ స్టాండింగ్ దేర్. అది చూసి ఇంకా నేను గట్టిగా అరిచేసి దిగిపోయి ఆయన దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళిపోయాను. వెళ్ళి ఐ ఇన్వాలంటరీలీ ఫౌండ్ బోత్ మై హ్యాండ్స్ జాయినింగ్ టుగెదర్, రేజింగ్ అప్ టు డూ నమస్కారం ఫర్ హిమ్. మై ఐస్ వర్ వెల్లింగ్ అప్, నేను ఏడుస్తుంటా ఆల్మోస్ట్. అండ్ దెన్ హీ ఫౌండ్ అస్ దేర్. ఓకే, సేఫ్ ఉన్నారు, ఏం కాదు అని చెప్పి హీ గైడెడ్ అస్ టు ద ప్లేస్ వీ వర్ సపోజ్ టు గో. So that day, that was just before I was almost preparing mains exam kante mundu. And lo and behold, just a year later, results which I am selected into IPS. I feel the safest as a woman. So from police perspective, women ki, firstly I'd like to say that I'm immensely proud that I belong to Telangana Police. Telangana Police Department is a pioneering department in leading this crusade against crimes against women, be it technologically or procedurally. Technologically, like for example, Amar garu adigaru mobility gurinchi, the first thing that struck me is, apart from the conventional policing that we do, be it visible policing, alert undadam, the dial 112 that is there, all apart from that, one thing that I'd like to specifically mention from technological point of view is the T-Safe, the first ever ride monitoring app that we have launched. So cab lo veltunappudu, especially in this IT corridor and working for many working women, it's very, very relevant. So how the way it is working and able to create safe mobility and safe spaces for women traveling alone. So that one, and procedurally we have the she teams, the Virtusa centers. So if the kind of work they are doing and the kind of push they are giving to the investigation of POCSO cases, especially the sexual offences against women and children, and the other thing is also from prosecution point of view, ఏదైనా జరిగితే ఏదైనా crime జరిగితే the immediate fallout should not just be okay case, chalo one more FIR added to the records, one more accused added to the records as somebody on remand, and tarvata vadiki eppudu conviction ostundo teliyadu. Ala gaakunda we have been persistently, Telangana is one of the state with the greatest highest conviction rate also. So these things are something I as a police officer would like to work on for creating better and safer spaces for women. Apart from this, one last thing I'd like to add, not just from policing perspective, in general, as a woman, from my personal experience, for a woman ki safe space ante, it's when you create an atmosphere for her to possess freedom as an entitlement, that natural entitlement, not something that she has to take from somebody or she is looking for somebody to give it to her. Tanaki, as naturally a freedom of choice she has to have. Danikosam main thing is the upbringing from parents, from siblings, from close guardians. Ikkad nunchi start avutadi creating safer space for her to help her grow into a beautiful human being she is, and to ultimately realize the full potential that she has. So it starts from there is what I very strongly believe. Thank you.
అది ఐటీ ఏరియాస్లో రాత్రిపూట ఉమెన్ ఫ్రీగా తిరిగే పరిస్థితులు ఉన్నాయండి?
So IT areas lo from definitely from policing side manaki completely oka secure atmosphere create cheyadaniki visible patrolling is one thing that we have been consistently very and consistently ensure chestu unnamu. CP sir has been very particular about this, and more than anything, any dial 100, dial 112 right now. So call eppudu ochina kuda we are always on our toes to attend it and immediately secure whoever is in need.
Thank you, Andi. Vanita garu, now these days children face a very different safety environment, Andi. In the age of artificial intelligence, what role should parents and teachers play in drawing the line between useful exposure and harmful exposure? AI can help children learn and access more knowledge, but could excessive dependence on it affect their basic cognitive abilities, social skills, and even lead to addictive usage?
Thank you, Amar Garu, for that very relevant question. Andarki namaskaram, a very good evening today, and very happy to see all of you today on the 20th anniversary of SCSC. Meer adiginatlu, Amar Garu, I think right now in the US, there is 4 states that are actually having a case against Meta. And they are saying that no, addiction, social media addiction is the cause for a lot of atrocities or no suicides among the young youth. young children. And I think this is supposed to be a $1 trillion case. I know it sounds illogical, but it just shows us the spectrum of the negative side of digital. While the world is progressing, cyber is becoming a part of everybody's life. Unfortunately, one has to have the maturity on how you deal with these tools. These are all tools for us. It may be a tool for communication, it may be a tool for connectivity, but how are we using the tools, and how does one section of society misuse it to gain some inappropriate advantage, especially over the youngsters? And today we understand a lot from schools, educational institutions, and of course parents, that screen time is becoming a major challenge, and every activity is sort of being dependent on screen time. ఆఖరికి మీరు అంటే ఈ రోజుల్లో ఈవెన్ లైక్ బికాస్ యంగ్ పేరెంట్స్ ఆర్ ఆల్సో హ్యావింగ్ జాబ్స్, వర్క్ లైఫ్ బ్యాలెన్స్, దే డోంట్ వాంట్ టు స్పెండ్ ఇనఫ్ టైమ్ ఫీడింగ్ ద చైల్డ్. దేర్ఫోర్ ఒక స్క్రీన్ ఇచ్చేసి అది చూస్తే అన్నం కూరేస్తున్నారు. మేము యాక్చువల్లీ ఈవెన్ వీఆర్ ఆల్సో రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ ఫర్ డూయింగ్ దట్ because we want to finish off within that short time. But what we are not realizing is ee practice normalize cheseste repodda that becomes very very common, and it becomes part of the culture of them growing up. రేపొద్దుట ఒక డైనింగ్ టేబుల్ మీద కూర్చుంటే పూర్వం అంటే మేము మా అమ్మమ్మల తాతయ్యలతో కూర్చుంటే కౌలు చెప్పుకునేవాళ్ళం. ఇప్పుడు కూర్చుంటే అందరికీ ఒక స్క్రీన్, ఒక ఐప్యాడ్, ఒక ఫోన్. అప్పుడు ఏమీ లేవు. ఇప్పుడు అంటే డిఫరెంట్ సిచ్యువేషన్. మేబీ తాతగారికి ఒక ఫోన్ కాల్ వస్తుంది, ఎమర్జెన్సీ అంటారు. అమ్మమ్మకి మేబీ షీఈ్ ఆల్సో వర్కింగ్, ఆవిడకి ఏదో ఫ్రెండ్ ఏదో ఫంక్షన్ ఏదో ఉంది, దీనికి మీరు రావాలని ఆవిడ అందులో బిజీ అయిపోతారు. సో చిల్డ్రన్స్ మేము కార్టూన్స్ చూస్తాం. బట్ వాట్ ఈస్ వెరీ వెరీ స్కేరీ ఇస్ బికాస్ దెర్ ఆర్ వెరీ వెరీ లెస్ కంట్రోల్స్ దట్ అడల్ట్స్ ఆర్ అవేర్ ఆఫ్. సో ఈ సోషల్ మీడియాలో కంట్రోల్స్ అనేది చాలామందికి తెలియదు. దేర్ఫోర్ ఏంటంటే ఒక మొబైల్ ఇచ్చేస్తే ఐ మైట్ సీ కార్టూన్స్ రైట్ నౌ, ఒక 10 minutes కార్టూన్స్ చూస్తాను, తర్వాత స్క్రోల్ చేస్తా ఉంటే ఇన్అప్రోప్రియేట్ కంటెంట్ వచ్చేయవచ్చు. ఓవర్ టైమ్ దట్ బికమ్స్ దెన్ క్యూరియాసిటీ. పిల్లల్లో ఏంటంటే క్యూరియాసిటీ, అదేంటి ఇది చూడొచ్చా, ఎవరు లేరు కదా, లెట్ మీ గో డీపర్ ఇన్ టు దిస్. సెకండ్ థింగ్, పియర్ ప్రెషర్. పియర్ ప్రెషర్ ఆల్సో బికమ్స్ మేజర్ ఛాలెంజ్ ఫార్ ఎస్పెషలీ ఎఫ్లూయెంట్ నేర్బర్హుడ్స్లో. ఈ కొత్త ఛాలెంజెస్ చాలా that level of requirement as దానివలన చాలా ప్రెషర్స్, చాలా తప్పుడు పనులు. People get that opportunity to go into negative areas, and I think recently also I saw some negative media where just because of a phone an entire family actually lost their life because I think the child wanted a phone and he threatened, and then it all went into a very very bad territory. So how do we bring a lot of awareness for children, for students, for parents, unless we create an ecosystem where right from their early childhood, that is right from your kindergarten or even play school, that you try to bring some sort of an exposure to these sort of topics. ఇప్పుడు చిన్నప్పుడు నేను స్కూల్కి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు ఎవరు నాకు గుడ్ టచ్ బ్యాడ్ టచ్ నేర్పించలేదు. కానీ ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే చిన్న చంటి పిల్లల దగ్గర నుంచి అట్లీస్ట్ చెప్తున్నాం గుడ్ టచ్ బ్యాడ్ టచ్ ఏంటి. సో ఈవెన్ మై యంగ్ గ్రాండ్ చిల్డ్రన్ నో, అమ్మమ్మ దిస్ ఇస్ గుడ్ టచ్, నాన్నమ్మ దిస్ ఇస్ బ్యాడ్ టచ్. సో నాకు పర్లేదు. సో వెరీ I was recipient of lot of bad touches. It could be from family members, it could be from strangers. But now I realize that nobody didn't tell us about it. So మనం ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు ఫ్యూచర్లో we have to create awareness. అవేర్నెస్తో పాటు ఏంటంటే ఎక్స్పోజర్తో పాటు you allow them to have the confidence that ఏదైనా తప్పు జరిగితే అట్లీస్ట్ ట్రస్టెడ్ అడల్ట్ దగ్గరికి వచ్చి మాట్లాడాలి.
అవి అవేర్నెస్ ఇవన్నీ క్రియేట్ చేయడం వరకు బాగానే ఉంది, కానీ కొన్ని రాష్ట్రాలు చూడండి చట్టాలు చేస్తున్నాయి. సర్టన్ ఏజ్ పిల్లలు సర్టన్ ఏజ్ వరకు ఇవి చూడడానికి వీల్లేదు అని. అది ఎట్లా సాధ్యం? చట్టం చేయగానే దాన్ని అమలు చేయడం అంత ఈజీ కాదు కదా. ఇంట్లో తల్లిదండ్రులే ఫోన్లు ఇస్తూ ఉన్నప్పుడు చట్టాల వల్ల ఏం ప్రయోజనం చెప్పండి? కొన్ని రాష్ట్రాలు చట్టాలు చేసినాయి.
సో అవేర్నెస్ రావాలండి. ఐ థింక్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ కంట్రీస్లో దే బ్యాన్ సోషల్ మీడియా బిలో 16 years of age అని ఉన్నట్టుంది. ఐ థింక్ మన దేశంలో కూడా అది రావాలని చాలామంది కోరుకుంటున్నారు. ఎంతవరకు అది ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయగలుగుతారో కష్టాలు ఉంటాయి. బట్ ఐ థింక్ ఆల్ స్టేక్ హోల్డర్స్
పేరెంట్స్ ఇది లేకుండా అది ఎట్లా సాధ్యం అవుతుంది?
పేరెంట్స్
ఇప్పుడు చిన్న పిల్లల 16 or 17 years ఏజ్ లోపల పిల్లలకు మొబైల్ ఫోన్స్ ఉండకూడదు అంటున్నారు. వాళ్ళ పేరు మీద ఉండకపోవచ్చు, వాళ్ళు అన్నం తినకపోతున్నా, వాళ్ళు ఇంకో చదువుకోకపోతున్నా, వాళ్ళని కన్విన్స్ చేయడానికో పేరెంట్స్ వాళ్ళ ఫోన్లు ఇస్తున్నారు కదా.
సేమ్ కేస్ అండి. ఇప్పుడు యూ సీ మైనర్ డ్రైవింగ్ అండి, యాక్చువల్లీ నో మైనర్ కెన్ రిజిస్టర్ అ వెహికల్ ఆన్ దేర్ నేమ్, బట్ ఏంటంటే పేరెంట్స్ పేరు మీద
I think minor driving is less dangerous than watching this.
Maybe the percentage may be low, but this is the very fact that an organization like SCSC is doing its level best and to try to bring about some sort of a mandate into all education institutions that these set of rules and regulations have to be constituted, and we need to actually get them implemented. So unless all stakeholders come on board, it's going to be very difficult. And I think media has a huge role to play in that, sir.
Of course, media has a very huge role to play, but I don't know how far it is doing. My colleagues are here. I don't know how far we are fulfilling our responsibility.
So media ఏంటంటే నెగటివ్ ఇష్యూస్ ఎక్కువ ఫోకస్ చేయకుండా పేజ్ 1లో నెగటివ్, స్టాప్ రీడింగ్ న్యూస్ పేపర్స్ అని. ఎందుకంటే మార్నింగ్ తీయగానే ముందు నెగటివ్ తోటి యువర్ హోల్ మైండ్ ఇస్, ఐఎమ్ షూర్ ఆల్ మై నో ద పోలీస్ పీపుల్ యాక్చువల్లీ ఫేస్ దట్ ఆన్ అ డే టు డే బేసిస్. Sir was telling a lot of times. But at least if some positive, and see positive news give page 1lo eppudu they don't give highlights. So if my wish would be to give that.
Yes, I agree with you. Some
especially
years back,
with his children and women.
Some decades back, there was an unwritten rule in the newsrooms that we should not glorify the ghastly incidents or bad news in the page 1. Endukante early morning levagane before coffee people go and see the newspaper. So we should not give a bad beginning to the readers అని అనుకునే వాళ్ళం, కానీ ఇప్పుడు ఆ పరిస్థితులు ఉన్నట్టు లేవు.
ఇప్పుడు 24/7 న్యూస్ ఛానల్స్ ఉంటున్నాయి. దే హావ్ టేకెన్ ఓవర్ దట్ రోల్. ఐ థింక్
న్యూస్ ఛానల్స్ లేదా ఇప్పుడు వస్తున్న ఈ సోషల్ మీడియాలో వస్తున్న డిజిటల్ వీటిలలో పోతే ఇంకా మనం చాలా మాట్లాడాల్సి వస్తుంది, మీరు చాలా ఇంక విమర్శించాల్సి వస్తుంది. థ్యాంక్ యూ అండి. అండ్ తనుజ గారితో మాట్లాడదాం. తనుజ గారు, most large organizations today have a POSH, prevention of sexual harassment policy, and an internal complaints committees. Chala chotlallo unnai avi. But having a committee and having employees actually trust that committee are two different things. What does an organization need to do to build that trust?
Sure, Andy. Thank you so much. This was fantastic to listen to all of you, and this is Sunday evening. I'll keep it very, very crisp and short. Everybody would want to go home early, and we do have panels. POSH is just one part of internal safety that organizations do. Over and above POSH, for everybody in the organization, there is something called physical safety and the psychological safety. Building a culture of inclusion where people feel open to come and talk about the challenges they have, the mental challenges, etc. So POSH is just one part of which we do. The larger commitment which you will see, and I'll try summarize it in 3 steps. One is the commitment, the 3 C's if I were to say, is the commitment from the senior leadership. It's almost like walk the talk. It's how you show up every day, how you're creating a culture on a daily basis. It's not the values which are on the board, but how do you live the values is something which leaders show up. It may not stay in the goal sheet for people, but what we do and how we do is equally important. I may achieve goals, but if I don't do the how right, the manager or the leader is dinged. The second one is, how do we communicate this on a regular basis? Having a POSH committee or having a group of people available for you versus you can reach out to anybody anytime. It has to be bombarded. It has to be told again and again and again. And if you don't live up to the first one, the commitment and then the communication, it's words on the wall, right? So you have to do it on a daily basis. How you brush your teeth, you have to say it again and again. And the third C is the continuous learning. You are teaching behavior which is like, it's not tolerable when you walk into this premises. It has to be taught. right? How we are doing things in a country, in a society, etc. A same behavior, you cannot show up at workplace and then behave rogue, is a continuous learning. People do not get it, so we have to drive discipline and continuously train people. I'll stop here.
Okay, one more question. How can HR and the overall work culture ensure that the woman feel confident enough to report inappropriate behavior, particularly when it is a senior colleague or a person who has authority on that employee? How do you?
Yeah. So safety is, I have an ability to go and talk about it with either the POSH committee or anybody senior in the organization, is an inclusive workplace. I'll give you my example at my office, Sirisha Borgunti, who is the CEO MD. Anybody pretty much can walk into her office anytime, okay? It's a culture, it's not about open door or anybody can walk in. We have internal chat channels. If somebody writes to her, I haven't seen her not responding to that person. That's the culture she's building. Even if it's the smallest of the case, she will come back to HR and say, what happened to this person? I want to know the details. And she will follow up 3 times over if I don't respond.
Okay.
That's the ownership I see right at the leadership. And she drives that with her team all the time. Extremely high bar.
Thank you very much. But finally, to all 4 of you, I would like to ask each of you, what is the one change you would like to make or contribute to make Cyberabad and the IT corridor safer?
One change is, we are also a new organization, so first I was discussing with my friends earlier, giving it an identity, not in terms of only a name, but giving it an identity which is more responsive, more accountable, shedding the legacies which we would want to shed. Accessible చేయటం, accessible మా organization ని చేయటం, city ని చేయటం. That will be my biggest thought, which will be always constantly driving us to be better than what we were yesterday.
Do you have anything to say briefly?
Change kante more, I think there's nothing to change. We are already in the right path, but the only thing that we need to change maybe is the pace at which we are moving towards a safer space.
So for me, I feel life skills for every child, which includes safety as one of the core values. If that can be constituted, mandated, whatever you say, if that happens, at least within Cyberabad, and then it gets translated to all other regions, I think we will move into a more safer India.
Finally.
So I would say safety begins at home. That's the smallest building block for us. Difficult to implement, but if we are able to do something there onwards, that's the change, I would say.
Thank you very much, Srijana Garu, Sheshadrin Reddy Garu, Dr. Vanita Datla, and Tanuja Buri Garu for participating in this discussion. I think we took more time what we were allowed to. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amma Garu. May I please request M. Ramesh, IPS, to please give the mementos to the panelists. We can come for a picture and then followed by memento. Just wait for 2 minutes. Can we have the mementos? And this is the beauty of SCSC, ladies and gentlemen. You see 3 women leaders from different domains, police, industry, municipal ops, talking about the safety, security, and that's the beauty and that's the advantage what SCSC brings to the table. Thank you so much for taking out time for this wonderful panel. and the conversation that reminds us of something important. Safety is not just about protecting people, it's about creating the confidence to live without fear. Thank you so much, Amar Garu, for moderating the panel. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's change the setting. While the panelists settle down, 20 years ago, if someone told us that one day our money, identity, relationship, work, and even our homes would live inside a phone, we might have found it difficult to imagine. Today, we don't have to imagine it, we live it. And when life moves online, risk moves online too. The crime scene is no longer always a street corner. Sometimes it's screen, a message, a link, a phone call, a seeming harmless click. And so the question before us is, who is safe in this digital world? And what does it take to build communities that are not just digitally connected, but digitally and community resilience? With that, I would like to invite our next panelist. And as a moderator, may I please request Mr. K. Srinivas Reddy, editor Telangana Today, to moderate this conversation along with our distinguished panelists. And to honor, I may request Dr. Chinna Babu Singanvelli to please come and honor Srinivas Reddy Garu with the bouquet, please. And I may also request the fellow panelists to please join us on the stage. Mr. Kamleshwar, IPS, Deputy Director, SV NPA, Mr. Ridharaj, IPS, DCP Kukatpalli, Mr. Raghu Kannan, Joint Secretary, Cybersecurity, SCSC, and founder, Sadhguru Management Consultant, Mr. Nageshwar Rao Challa, EC member, SCSC, and Center Head, TCS, Hyderabad. Thank you for taking out time to discuss the most talked topic about digital safety. And with this, I'll hand it over to Srinivas Garu to take it from here. Thank you so much. Can we switch on?
Yeah, I think it's fine. From women's safety, now we move to another safety issue, which concerns every one of us, irrespective of the social status, economic status, or standing in the society. Cyber security, cyber safety is one of the most interesting and most worrisome aspect of today's life for us. We have a very distinguished panel here. Without taking much time, I'll just shoot some questions and give more time to the panelists so that we can gain from their experience. All of them come from different, backgrounds. First, I would like to shoot a question. It's going to be a rapid fire question sort of a thing, sir and madam. My first question will be to Mr. Kalmeshwar Singh Anwar, an IPS officer, Deputy Director in the NPA. Cybercrime is evolving faster than any mode of crime, any modus operandi. It is fast evolving. Something like an amoeboic structure, you try to stop something, it takes another form and hits us, irrespective of any discrimination. So what capabilities should the investigators, especially from the law enforcement agencies, what sort of capabilities they should be developing to keep pace with the kind of developments what we are seeing? Mr. Kalmeshwar.
Thank you, sir. Firstly, I wish SCSC and all its members, I congratulate them for completing 20 years and wish them that they continue with all their work affecting the lives of people. Now, to answer the question, capabilities, when it comes to police, there's a misunderstanding that investigation of cyber crimes requires some very special skill. It is not so. The traditional crimes are investigated by following the Criminal Procedure Code, which is now BNSS. The same procedures are followed even for the investigation of cyber crimes. If you compare it with the investigation of the traditional crimes, investigation is nothing but identifying the evidences and linking up it with the accused and the crime. The same is what has to be done here. It is just that the evidence, which is in the form of a data, the data set is large here and requires some analytics. So what is required firstly is sensitization among the police personnel that investigation of cybercrime does not require some very high skill. It is just that they need to develop the data analytics mindset. And if you look at the cybercrimes, broadly if we have to categorize it, firstly, the fraudsters use a lot of tools and services to connect with the victim. That's one part of the crime. And the second part would be where after they have defrauded the victim monetarily, the money is transferred to multiple accounts or is used for different purposes. So broadly, if we see these two things, in the first part, where the tools and services are used by the criminals to connect with the victim, they leave a lot of footprints, digital footprints. So identification of that and identifying or connecting it with the victim and the accused is where the skill needs to be developed. That's an area of training which is required, like the digital forensics, what we call now, the mobile forensics, the VPN related data, all these things come under that. The second part is where the money trail, investigation of the money trail is another area where training needs to be developed. Now this, in money trail, it is the money gets transferred to multiple accounts, is converted into crypto, or is used for various services and is also withdrawn. Now here also a lot of digital footprints are left by the fraudster. Now identification of them and connecting. So these are the areas where the capability building is required. Now all said and done, at the ground level, it is not just the responsibility of the investigating officers, even at the policy level is where the changes are required. That we have a sort of confusion that privacy and anonymity is same. There's clear distinction between them. The fraudsters are using this anonymity under the cover of privacy and doing it. So the policy level changes are also required to ensure that the anonymity by the fraudsters is not used.
Thank you, sir. That was very insightful. Now we will move. Mr. Kalmeshwar enlightened us about what to do, what are the gaps, what should the investigator should have. But all this comes post commission of offense. But before that, how do we prevent cybercrime? And what are the gaps, as you see, madam, I'm asking this question to you. What are the gaps do you see in prevention of cybercrime? And also, what are the gaps in responses from the law enforcement side also?
So if you talk about prevention of cybercrime, we have to understand that cybercrime gets committed mainly because the emotions of the victim have been exploited by the accused. The accused would either be putting the victim in a sense of urgency, in a sense of missing out, or with a feeling of greed. So generally what happens is we have this feeling that it happened with somebody else, it will not happen with me. And if I receive an offer, even though it seems too good to be true, it might actually be true. So when you talk about prevention, it really boils down to how much the victims themselves, we are able to stop ourselves from falling into the trap. So like even the government is running that campaign, Fraud Ka Full Stop. So like the only way by which these financial cybercrime will not happen is when we do not fall prey to them. And I'm not talking about the cyber attacks, the cybercrime which happens with the public in general. And the second thing is, sir, when you talk about the implementation, so when once an offense has happened, reporting it becomes an issue. We have two kinds of cybercrime generally. One where financial loss is there, one where it is more about the defamation. So when you have financial loss, the 1930 system which the government of India has come up with, it's being implemented really well in Telangana. And especially the Telangana police has been focusing on it so much that the rate of refunds have increased by a huge margin. Even recently, the MRM module has started in. MRM is nothing but the money restoration module. So if your money is frozen in an account, it is less than 50,000, there is a very simple procedure for you to be able to get it back immediately. However, when we talk about cyber crimes where it's not about money, it's about your defamation, your photo being uploaded online, photos being morphed. In those cases, first, the victim doesn't want to bring it out. They don't want to report because they feel that taboo is there. Unless we acknowledge the problem, we can't begin to think about the solution. So this is where confidence has to be given to the victim that, you know, it can happen with anybody, it has happened with you, and we're here to help. So that is where when we do our awareness programs, we focus on that. And regarding this, one more thing I'll tell, sir, earlier this was a very big issue. Photos would be morphed, especially of young girls, they would be put online. And even though we would continue the investigation, taking down of those photos would become a problem. Again, now there is, the government of India has come up with the Sahyog portal. There we are using it actively in investigation, where once the FIR is registered, immediately first whatever objectionable, obscene photos are there, first it gets taken down so that the victim gets immediate relief. And the practical difficulty, one more thing I would want to say is that people don't know where to report. Like since we were kids, we were never taught about in school about the administration of a unit. We never knew, okay, this is the local police station. After the local police station, this is a senior, that is a senior. We were never told. So mostly people don't know which police station they have to go to report. Right now, we have the 1930 system, even non-financial frauds can be reported. But after that also, they have to reach a police station and they don't know what they are going to face in the station. That is again another awareness which we need to build to bridge the gap. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. That's a great insight. Now we will move over to from cybercrime prevention to Ms. Ritiraj has talked about awareness campaigns and everything. Sir, my question to Mr. Raghu Kannan is how can industry and wider community move from awareness creation to build real cyber resilience?
Awareness, I think, is not really paid off so well, I would say. While it's important, I'll give you one simple example. Shikaji and I were there in Novartis doing a session for a lot of employees. There are about 700 employees were there in the auditorium. We asked them how many of them subject to cybercrime. Quite a few hands went up. They're all educated employees, you know. So I think the solution has to come from a design perspective. I think we should look at design thinking as the best way to solution. See, we have in healthcare, we take vaccines for prevention. We also go to hospitals for cure. Lot we have focused on cure. I think time has come now we have to look at serious prevention solutions. One good thing, I think one example I want to give you is this 1600 came. It now gives confidence for people to lift that call. It's a banking call. Earlier, we never used to know whether whose call was that, you know. So I think that was a design solution. We should look at very thoughtfully how we can look at design thinking into ensuring that cyber crimes are brought to a near minimum. Couple of ideas. This is where I think SCSC comes in, because these ideas cannot be implemented by one. Let's say mobile operating systems can be controlled not to type a number while you're in a call. Let's say, just take the example. One of the possible solutions, because as Madam Ritiraj was saying, you are fooled in a spur of a moment. Is that right? You just recklessly type something and then you lose money. So, but if this has to happen, we'll have to bring Apple on the table, we have to bring Google on the table, we have to bring commissioners on the table, we have to bring RBI on the table, we have to bring banks on the table. This is where SCSC comes in, you know. It has that wherewithal to connect the dots and get people on the table. Take another example. Today we have golden hour. She also talked about the golden hour. Gold and IMPS do not go together hand in hand. IMPS talks about the fastest way of transfer of money. How the banking system can change the setup where when you transfer to a stranger for the first time, not allowed to transfer. The Mool accounts get so much of transfer happens within seconds. Our recovery is poor because by the time transfer has happened and has got converted into crypto. See, that can be delayed through a software chain, through a process chain, through a policy chain. That would be another interesting possibility to reduce. Or look, most of the victims are all senior citizens who lose money. Maybe they can be registered as a safe by the children, if they can be registered as a safe telecaller or something like that, then you don't allow calls which is not part of their address book. If they can call back on the number, most of these, if you call back, the number will not work because they're all not from a regular registered number, it comes through the internet gateway. So these are, I think, we'll have to look at design solutions exactly like this. I don't think advocacy, we must keep doing. I mean, we had both cure and as well as prevention, but a lot of advocacy is still not giving results for us. That's a challenge. And then people who lose money are all very well educated people in addition to people who are not educated. It's equal. I don't think there is a proportion that educated people are not losing money. That's the biggest problem. Several of them have lost money. My own friends, I know they're all very qualified, double degrees, triple degrees, they have lost money. So I think we'll have to seriously bring all the stakeholders on a table and then see how design thinking can be applied, where we bring out new solutions to prevent.
Thank you, sir. I wish we had more time to discuss this thing actually, but nevertheless, we are just skimming the surface and so that, there much thought can be given by the participants to it later. My question now to Mr. Nageshwar Rao is, from an organizational response side, security is beyond setting up firewalls and this thing, then organization has to be prepared, especially in the backdrop of the ransomware attacks that are happening. I don't want to name the organizations in Hyderabad that have faced ransomware attacks, but we know that that problem is there. So how do we build this sort of an integrated approach in an organization to face cyber security, especially, for example, a hospital losing data or some organization getting all the data frozen by some ransomware attack. Technically, organizations only think of having a firewall and then forgetting about it. What more needs to be done from the organizational perspective?
Thank you. Thank you, Srinivas Reddy garu. Before I start, congratulations to SCSC for this momentous milestone of 20 years. Any institution, organization sustaining and continue to add value for 20 years, it's not easy. It can be only possible, in my view, with two things. One, the values, what it lives for, what it lives with, and the leadership. I think SCSC had been fortunate to have that set, both, working extremely efficiently for the last 20 years. In terms of values, the leadership, the accountability, the trust, and of course the shared responsibility with the industry as well as the other civic societies. And from the leadership, we have seen 20 years leaders, one after the other, how they kind of challenged and changed the way things are, how we can better the society, help the industry and community at large. Wonderful thing, sir. Congratulations. Coming to your question, sir, just to share some statistics, 2025, if we look at the ransomware attacks, I'll talk more from the organization's point of view. There are 8,000 plus organizations that got affected by the ransomware globally. And the business impact is to the tune of 80 billion. And most startling fact is, the moment the guys got in, it took only 48 minutes for them to exploit the organization through whatever vulnerable means that they got through. So that's the kind of thing that we are grappling with. You asked the right question, how do we kind of put the structures together? Essentially, it starts from, obviously, we look at information security, how we can actually put all the controls, etc., in terms of who is authorized to see what kind of access controls that we can provide, maker, checker kind of thing. I am only supposed to view, but I am kind of trying to go and approve some things. Those kind of absolutely access control based checkpoints. Second thing is from the IT infrastructure point of view itself. Like you mentioned about firewalls, it goes more beyond that, right from where that information is stored, who has access to that particular facility, how your kind of resilience is built into those systems in terms of if something goes wrong, what are the mechanisms to retrieve it fast, where I can say that that's the last point of recovery for me. So there are a lot of things around that is put into. And the third one, most importantly, what we are seeing organizations asking for is time of recovery. Like they all have mentioned in terms of personal situations, organizations are asking, I can't kind of get my business down for months and weeks. I need the mechanism to recover my entire operations within 24 hours. Either I got a compromise on the supply chain side or on the factory side, physical related, access related, anything 24 hours, I want to kind of up and running with my entire system. So that's the kind of demands that are coming in. So what is that we require to do? Essentially to start with, obviously the structured process and the architectures have to be built so much with resilience in focus. Second thing is obviously the governance, not only at the individual application or the location level governance, the central governance also. And obviously AI is making absolutely, it gives both the speed and sophistication for the attackers. And what we see in cybersecurity is AI versus AI it is. AI by the attackers, AI by the defenders. So that's where how you can put AI to the purpose, looking at the kind of patterns, trends, etc., and how you can build, whom I can suspicion in the organization, who is having that access, what are the paths that the kind of there are vulnerable openings, how we can prevent that control. So there are governance mechanisms, how do I review across the levels. And of course, the third point is the recovery point where I draw, I work with the business, I work with the cybersecurity experts. I say that this is where I have to kind of stop there and then get my data and the retrieval back. So these are some of the things. It's not easy to do, but it has to be done consciously. Other thing I just want to kind of extend what you have asked for is, we work with all the global organizations. It is not just within your in cyber information security, infrastructure, physical security. What organizations comes and asks us is, what is your resilience from a city point of view? We kind of do the operations for many, many customers from here on a 24/7 mode. So the first question is how Hyderabad is geared up. If you are saying that we want to run it out of Hyderabad. So there comes the last point, what you asked on, the ecosystem. Very, very important that we have that ecosystem, and that's where the SCSC provides. Just 3 points on that. Friend Krishna spoke about how the COVID-19 related, when the entire global meltdown was there, complete lockdown, how we help the associates to recover, retrieve, and start running with the business operations for our customers within a week. And I completely echo with what he mentioned. In our case as well, within the 1 week, we were able to kind of provide that continuity of services to our customers. And that's the benchmark in entire country. Second thing is more recent of how the resilience is talked about from a preparedness point of view. Last year, if you look at, there is a lot of cross-border conflict-related escalations that happened. Again, there are a lot of WhatsApp university stuff that was going on. This city was attacked, night drones were attacked, etc., these kind of things. And the customers were asking questions like, how safe is your city? So what are the mechanisms that you are doing? Again, the ecosystem came into the picture, where Commissioner himself, and we had that entire civic defense system drill that we had, correct? The alarm system and all those things. There, Commissioner called all the industry leaders and provided that assurance, why it is being done for, what is that you people have to be kind of taking care of. We had to kind of call in some additional SOPs, additional security at the gate physically as well as the process point of view. That helped, that collaboration helped. And the third one, as recently as 3-4 months back, this LPG crisis situation. What IT industry has to do with the LPG crisis situation, somebody may ask, but essentially a lot of non-locals work out of the PG hostels and all, correct? And that provided a kind of hostels were not able to continue with the food because of the shortage of supply or hike in the prices, etc., and all that. That's where again the leadership comes into picture Commissioner himself called all the dealers and the distributors of this gas supply and told them to make the priority for these hostlers. And it just didn't stop there. He again kind of pulled all the hostlers and told that, boss, there is a supply chain that has been provided to you and you better behave. And how that helped the industry, essentially we were able to tell our employees that you don't worry, whoever is staying in the PG, this is how the entire ecosystem is coming to picture. The business will continue as is. The resilience is built into the operations, what we are doing day in, day out. That's the beauty of the collaboration, and we proudly stand and say, Hyderabad is unique, SCSC is unique for us. And next 20 years also, that collaboration absolutely we look forward to. And from our industry side, whatever the expertise, like our colleagues are there, senior SMEs, onto the forums, where we get the industry side of view, and we are working with global customers. That expertise we bring them, whether from awareness point of view, implementation point of view, and like BRCC, I'm sure some of them are going to talk about the Business Resilience Command Center, where we get the regular alerts on this is happening, this is how you need to prepare your business continuity. And that's the resilience customers look at, and that's the beauty of SCSC. Thank you so much. I think I took more time than what you gave me.
It's very interesting to know and reassuring to know that Hyderabad has standardized or has set the standards in the country about this resilience. To sum it up, I would like to ask all the panelists here to see right from prevention of cybercrime to investigation of cybercrime, organizational resilience to ability of the organization to continue the business in case of a ransomware attack or any cybersecurity. What do you think Hyderabad should be doing 5 years down the lane? What more should be done to make Hyderabad a cyber safe city? We'll start with Ms. Nitiraj. Let's say about the gaps you see, you talked about prevention of cybercrime. What do you think should be done more? We will summarize it, distill it so that we can take it forward perhaps subsequently.
So one major category of cases we face are investment fraud scams. So one simple understanding, if it is too good to be true, it is not. This understanding, and if money comes easy, it comes with a lot of costs which you will pay later. So that understanding, I think that will go a long way in preventing it.
Sir, what about investigation part of it?
From the investigation or the law enforcement perspective, sir, as Mr. Nageshwar Rao Garu was telling, it's a AI versus AI fight now.
Exactly.
So developing capability in use of AI for investigation purpose.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have this malware as a service now. How about was your comments, Mr. Raghu? 5 years down the lane, what capability should we be developing?
I think we should develop capability from an angle of not to act in haste. That's what I think. So everything has to have a time span of delay when it comes to money. Nothing should be done instantly. While business needs instant transfers, that's fine from an individual perspective. So I think there should be a stage gate process where the gate is a time, so that somebody is able to intervene. If not you made a mistake, at least somebody else is able to intervene. That's, I think, probably one of the things I would like to see. I'd like to see, maybe there's a deposit insurance corporation, something like that the state can establish for small claims. I know the small claim, the process has become smaller, but then somebody who's got a 1 lakh loses 50,000. Even he's going to get it after 3 months or 2 months, still it's a lot of hardship for him. So maybe there is a small insurance setup which can be created by the state, which as a one-time corpus, we can probably bring up a corpus through SCSC, and then the returns can be set for small claim settlement, and when the money is recovered, it goes into that pool. It's not that, so then the person gets the relief instantly. I think instant relief is what people are looking for if they made the mistake.
Yeah. Mr. Rao?
Sir, from my side, we are as good as, resilience is as good as the ecosystem resilience. I think all the speakers spoke about the way handshake has to happen across the systems, institutions. That connecting the dots, ensuring that there is no gaps in between. I think within 5 years, I'm sure we should be able to definitely crack that as a point of reference so that we have a foolproof across. It will happen, but how fast we are able to get it out, that is what would be the key thing.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for a very well thought out, towards say, responses to my somewhat amateurish questions. But I'm sure that, this will go a long way in opening up more vistas in thinking, security planning, organizational resilience, organizations, and from the law enforcement agencies also. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. May we please have Dr. M. Ramesh, IPS, to give away the mementos to the dignitaries. Again, I would like to reiterate the beauty of this platform, where you see on the one side you have the law enforcement officers, and on the other side you have the industry leaders talking about a common problem that we all face in this world today, on the cyber threats and the awareness that we need to be. Thank you so much, Srinivas Garu, and all the dignitaries and the panelists for taking out time. Our awareness must move faster, for sure. We have spent last few minutes talking about safety through facts, experiences, and perspectives. But sometimes a message doesn't need words. Sometimes it needs expression. And now we have a special artistic presentation for you. Please welcome Ms. Nancy Sahu, Director Strategic Relations, SCSC, for a magnificent performance. And before that, she would want to talk about this art form. Nancy, over to you.
Thank you, Naved. Good evening, respected dignitaries and distinguished guests. I am Nancy Sahu, Director for Strategic Relations at SCSC. This evening, I am honored to present a short performance that brings together different modules of SCSC work. Our continued presentation efforts toward creating a safer community in collaboration with our law and enforcement partners. The performance you are about to witness is a small artistic representation which is going to share the shloka inspired by the ancient Rigveda and beautifully adapted by Rabindranath Tagore. Its essence is simply yet profound, that we walk in one direction, think together, and work together as one. Because when we come together with the shared purpose, we can create a safer, stronger, and society. With that thought, I invite you to enjoy the performance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy, and that was really a way of great expression and summing up the entire threats and remedies around it. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, every morning millions of journeys begin. A child gets onto a school bus, a professional gets onto the road, a delivery rider begins a shift, and a family starts a journey home. And every one of those journeys has something in common. Everyone wants to reach their destination. But the real question is, can we make sure everybody reaches safely? Road safety is not just about roads. It's about behavior. It's about infrastructure. It's about technology. And above all, it's about people and partnership. So today, we ask, can we change the way we move? And can we make safer mobility a reality through collective actions? And to take this conversation forward, may I please invite Mr. Mari Ramu, Deputy Editor, The Hindu, Telangana, to moderate the panel along with the distinguished panelists. And may we also invite Mr. Raghu Kannan to please felicitate. Mr. Raghu Kannan, do we have him here? Can we have Shravan Ganu to please come and felicitate Mr. Mari Garu? Can we have the bouquet, please? And while our moderator is being honored, may we please request Mr. Sanpreet Singh, IPS, Joint Commissioner of Police Traffic, Cyberabad, Mr. Shravan Kumar Gone, the EC member, SCSC and CEO, K. Raheja Corp, Mr. Y. Suresh Reddy, Automobile Dealer, Pride Motors, Mr. Naresh Raghavan, Founder, Top Driver Education, LLP. With this, we'd like to hand it over to Mr. Mari Garu to take this conversation forward. Thank you so much.
Without any formalities I will straight away go to the discussion, our panel discussion, because it's already we are getting delayed. The topic given to us is, can we change the way we move? The question is very simple, but I am afraid the answer will be as big as this world. So, before going into this topic, I would like to put a little bit of statistics before all of you, so that we will understand the gravity of the situation. In Telangana state, from 2020 onwards, the total number of people dying in a year on an average is 7,000. If you take Hyderabad capital, including the 3 commissionerates, on an average, every year 1,200 to 1,400 people are dying in road accidents. This is apart from, people getting seriously injured, like permanently disabled. For that number is around 5,000 to 6,000 persons. Another statistical figure which I want to bring is, in one accident in Mancherial, 2010, not many people remember this accident. A marriage party of 45 people were returning home after attending a marriage in a van, capster van type of thing. The van rammed against a tree. 37 people died in that road accident. In another major road accident of recent 2018, at Kundagattu Temple Shrine, the RTC bus, while coming down a hill, fell into a gorge. 57 people died of those passengers. Everybody remembers is this Kurnool bus accident. I was there at that accident spot. I still remember the frightening situation of one woman who could not move from that burning bus. She got completely burnt. She simply sat in that. That is, one of those very frightening figures which I have witnessed. Immediately, couple of months later, again in 2025, the Chevalla bus accident was there.
So, in this coming to Hyderabad, in these past 2 decades, a lot of changes have come in the movement of people, number of vehicles, volumes of traffic. So, I would like to ask Sanpit Singh about, in these 2 decades, what do you think as a law enforcing agency or law enforcing departments, what effective steps can they take to control these road accidents and make the roads and people movement safer?
Good evening all. Firstly, as it is already quite late, so I'll not take much time. I'll divide this thing into 2 parts, both the traffic thing and the road safety also. As the question says that as Hyderabad has seen growth, rapid growth, massive growth over the last 2 decades. So the results of the growth we are all seeing in our daily day-to-day lives, because we are all the beneficiaries of that one. Be it from economic point of view, be it from lifestyle point of view, be it from opportunities point of view, all of us are enjoying it. But alongside that, as Ramu Gauri has already pointed out, the number of accidents, the number of fatalities, that has also increased. And the traffic chaos, the traffic congestions, all of you, myself including, all of us are experiencing those daily. So everybody, I think most of us would have heard a very famous dialogue. It was in a movie that with great power comes great responsibility. Now, I see growth in the terms of power, because it is actually empowering all of us, all the citizens of Hyderabad, all the citizens of Telangana. So growth is a kind of power, but simultaneously, because this growth has come, this power has come, there befalls a great responsibility on 2 major players who are affecting everything. One player is the government, which is the facilitator, the provider of all the things. And the second player is the public. Public means everybody of us who are actually utilizing those. Now, as far as this traffic congestions or maybe road safety is concerned, lot of it has already been done by the government, be the road infra or other kinds of measures. And lot of it is still there, which needs to be done. For example, integration of public transport, provision of more public transport in the areas where it is actually required, last mile connectivity, and installation of multi-level parking. So many things are there which actually need to be done, and some of those are in pipeline also, some of those are in discussion stage. So that thing is there. Now, coming to the public side, generally in the populace, it is always any traffic congestions or any road accident, it's always thought that the government is not doing anything, or government is including the police department. So government is not doing anything, or government is responsible for this thing. But I would say that public holds a major share in this thing, both in traffic congestions as well as the reducing the number of fatalities on roads. Now, just before this talk, we witnessed a good art play by Ms. Nancy. So in that one, in the road safety aspect, she portrayed very beautifully how one lady is going on the road and she is not bothered about anything. Actually, that is the typical Hyderabadi traffic sense. I hail from Punjab, so when I came from Punjab to here, to this state, so that is the first thing I noticed, that people are not bothered about the cars, they just go onto the road, they put their hands on both sides, that the vehicles have to stop and we need to pass. Now, the faults are on both sides. One is the traffic sense needs to be taught, and another thing is this zebra crossings, enough zebra crossing, they also need to be there. So this is just an example, just an instance. So lot of responsibility is there on the public. Do we actually care for the traffic congestion which we are contributing to it? Suppose I am going in a 7-seater SUV, I am driving it alone, or my driver is driving and I am sitting in the SUV. Is it actually justified for me to go in a 7-seater SUV when there is a good public transport also available? I'm not saying it is available everywhere, but wherever it is available, it is justified for me to go in that kind of SUV. Or where the road is narrow, the road is not very good. I am driving at a speed of 100, or if I am going on the ORR, I am driving at a speed of 140, 150. Is it actually justified for me? So that sense of responsibility has to be inculcated in the public also. So if both of these
government as well as public, they work in cohesion, then ultimately we'll be able to tackle these problems.
Thank you. That's an insightful answer, sir. Yeah, it is, when we talk about road safety, normally, most of the time the finger is pointed at the government agencies, police, traffic police, transport department. But we should not forget the fact that, as a system, all of us, each one of individual, including sitting all those here and everybody outside, all of us are collectively responsible for all these lives which we are losing. So, instead of pointing out finger at a particular agency or individual, we should change the thought process. So, my question to Naresh Raghavan, before asking your question, sir, one more statistic I want to put before the audience. In 2024, according to Gadkari sir, Union Minister's statement, the total deaths due to road accidents in the country is 177,177. This many number of people have lost lives in the country, putting entire country. So 177,000 persons losing lives is, affecting that many number of families. You imagine the socio-economic effect of these deaths also on the system, society as a whole. So normally earlier when I was a crime reporter, started as my career as a crime reporter in 2001, when we discuss about the traffic issues, normally we used to be told from morning peak hour traffic, evening peak hour traffic. Now there is no morning, it's only peak hour traffic is there in Hyderabad. There is no morning in normal traffic, I don't see anywhere. Either normal traffic will be there during after midnight in some pockets, but even after midnight, if you go to Uppal, LB Nagar, anywhere there it will be peak hours traffic. So, coming to Naresh Raghavan, sir, the question to you is, there are hundreds of rules, we all know the rules. Left, no turn, at left, it is normally everybody knows it. But do you think ensuring that all the road users follow the rules, comply with the rules, is it becoming very tough, or do you think, is there any change in the pattern of the behavior of people on the road? What is the changes you have seen, or how do you think all of us can change the behavior of road users in preventing road accidents?
That's a very good question, and actually I would like to focus on the first part of your question, which says we all know the rules. So the thing is that there are about 65 basic rules and 110 traffic signs, road signs. And I can confidently say that an average driver on the road does not know more than 10 or 15 rules. So there is a huge gap when we assume that we all know the rules. So the rules that we know, everybody knows is, stop at a red light, drive on the left side, don't drink and drive, wear helmet, wear seat belt, don't overspeed. Really, there are just these 6-7 rules that everybody is focused on. But what about the remaining 50 odd rules, right? So what I mean by, for instance, an example I'll give you is there's a blind spot of large vehicles. Okay, large trucks. The driver cannot see the area around the vehicle clearly. Now bikers are trying to cut left and right in that small gap and they get run over. They're doing it because the bikers don't know what is a blind spot. So that's a rule. Same thing about, lane discipline, and if you look at other things like tailgating. People don't keep a safe gap at all. You go on PVNR Expressway, you see everybody is tailgating. There is a rule called a 2-second gap. Who knows the 2-second gap? Nobody knows, because we have not been taught it. So by following some of these rules, we can actually improve the quality of our drive. Now coming to violations, what you're saying, in my experience, there are two types of violators. One, violators are, of course, the obvious ones who know the rule, like you said, and still break it, like driving on the wrong side and jumping a red light. But there is another hidden cost of unknown violators, ignorant violators. These are the people who are driving very vaguely through the road weaving to the left, weaving to the right, not adhering to the speed limit. They don't know what is lane discipline. And those people are creating congestion. And I'd like to bring that to what Mr. Sanpreet Singh was saying, is like, we are part of the problem, you know, because people are driving vaguely and creating traffic jams. So the police today, what I see is 90% of their effort is in clearing congestion. They don't have the bandwidth to go after the serious violators because they're trying to make the traffic move forward. So that's a part of the problem. And finally, you said about changing driver behavior. According to MORTH, which is Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, 80% of road accidents are due to driver error. Because the driver did not know what he had to do, who had the right of way, so they made a mistake. But how much of driver education are we doing in this country? Zero. There's no driver education. So at this point, I also want to say, very proud to say that Telangana government has introduced the first driver education program. Now, if you go for a learner's license permit, you have to go through a 2.5 hour online course. Only then you'll get the license. And they teach you about 65 rules. And next month, they're going to roll it out to the whole of the state also. So right now, Kukatpalli, they're doing the test. 2,500 people have taken the course. So I think it's like a three-way. We need to start with driver education, improve the quality of a driver, and then everything else will fall in place is what I believe.
Yeah, that's a different perspective you have given. Sanpreet Singh sir, I would like to ask you, do you think, since he was, Anand has raised the issue of drivers not having sufficient training or idea as to how to drive on the roads, do you think the present system of issuing driving licenses is perfect? Do you think it is the perfect system? Or, does it require to introduce more vigorous training before anybody was issued a driving license?
I would agree with him. That's what he said actually. Basically in Telangana, this new system has been started. Where a definite 2.5 hour course is there before giving the driving license. So very much I second this thought. Actually, it is required. It's not there in most of the states. I remember when I took the driving license, so we didn't have any kind of training. We just learned driving a car and we got the license. That's it. So that should be made mandatory in all the states, actually.
Suresh Reddy sir. Normally, city traffic management, there is always this issue of enhancing the average speed of traffic movement, right? But from the perspective of businesses and everyday road users, what are the practical changes that could make people safer? Not just enhancing the average traffic speed. What do you think? What are the practical changes we can introduce?
Other panelists have just answered about the road safety part. The critical question of the main city part, what we talk about it, every day we see the traffic congestions at every place. And then you have already mentioned that there is no peak hour or non-peak hours. Mostly it is throughout the day. Most part of the day, that is about 14, 15 hours or 18 hours in a day, the traffic is there. I feel awareness is one part of it, and awareness is generally there by and large. It's not that, first I would address I would like the Department of Police to address this in a more critical way and be a little more ruthless in trying to penalize the wrongdoers, be it wrong side driving, be it signal jumping, crossing the signal lines, blocking the roads, overtaking from the left and again turning towards the right. These are minor violations, not minor, major violations probably taking place every day, which creates a big chaos in the traffic system. The only way that I feel is they should be penalized ruthlessly. There is no excuse. If I am violating a rule, it is not about my speed or my kind of a thing. I am actually making the life, affecting the life of the other person, and I'm putting his life at stake. Like you said, that so many deaths are happening. I have no right to be irresponsible and make another person who's there. So first I feel penalization should be ruthless, irrespective of whether it is a two-wheeler, four-wheeler, truck or anything. The second, awareness is by and large there, and more awareness has to be created. So today, all of us, there should be a carrot and a stick policy. The carrot in this is, it's not about how fast I have been to my place or how fast I go out and reach out to my destination. The part of it is safety. The safety itself is a benefit. It's the carrot that we get out of it. How safe I reach home and how safe am I creating for the other people who are to commute and all that. Again, as I told, the stick part is the government has to be, the department has to be ruthless in penalizing. We are able to see what exactly happened with the drunken driving. With that kind of penalization that has happened, I'm not saying that it has become zero, but I think it has drastically reduced. There is a fear conscious, and the hardest way that we learn is the longest that stays in our mind. The hardest way is it has to pinch somebody's pocket very, very hard if you violate it.
When you say police, you want the police to be ruthless, do you mean the present amounts of fines are not sufficient enough?
No.
What do you say? I mean, already there is an argument, that the fine amounts, even for jumping the stop line or jumping the signal, are too heavy. That is one argument of one section of people.
Why is,
Do you still want that fine amounts to be enhanced?
Yes. See, first of all, what right? I mean, if it can be 5 rupees, it can be 500 rupees, it can be 5,000 rupees. I'll pay only when I violate it. So the fear of paying it should deter you from doing that wrong. First of all, that fear is to be there. So why should I mean, a small violation, 100 rupees, the truck fellow goes, it is 1,000 rupees and all. No, even a two-wheeler fellow has to resist and all. Just now that lady has depicted on this and all. I mean, even people crossing on the road, they are busy on their mobile phones, not mindful of that and all. Their earphones are there and their hands are free. They don't know what is coming. I mean, these are things should be watched, penalized, and that is the only way that an ordinary citizen, especially in India, we learn about it. I'm telling you, I don't do this when I go to a foreign country. It's not about awareness. See, I can do it in Hyderabad. I don't do it when I go to Bombay, because the traffic is little more disciplined in Bombay. That means it's not, I'm not aware of it. I'm aware of it, but I get away with it. I'm getting used to it. So, deterrent is the only way that it happens. The deterrent can be through penalization.
Yeah, definitely. When helmet rule has been there for decades together, but only Tejdeep Kaur, an IPS officer, she is retired now. So she was the one who started again enforcing the rule in something around 2005-06. There was a lot of resistance. Initially a lot of resistance. Governments also subsequently has, didn't withdraw the order as such, but that implementation was not so severe. But now we see a lot of people, even helmet rule when it is not insisted, almost 60 to 70% of people are wearing helmets without any specific drive to wear helmets. So obviously, more vigorous implementation of the rules will definitely bring in change. Now we can see because of that enhancement of stop line crossing violation fee amount, enhancement of the fine amount, a lot of people we can notice. I won't say 100% compliance is there, but that has increased a little bit. To my panelist, Shravan Gune sir, industry and communities are increasingly participating in road safety efforts alongside the traffic authorities. Where can this participation, do you think, makes a real difference on the ground?
Good evening. First, let me congratulate SCSC for successfully completing 20 years of industry and community service. So coming to your question, in terms of industry participation with the police in solving this traffic safety issues and all. So first thing is awareness. What we have been advocating to all our member companies is traffic awareness. The basic principles what we have discussed in terms of please keep the footpaths clear,
the footpaths which are meant for footpaths had to be used as footpaths, not smoking cigarettes or doing wrong parking. Then lane discipline. So whatever is possible, we have been doing this through our traffic forums within SCSC and informing all companies. At the industry level, we are also partnering with government. When I say government, is the municipal corporation and TGIC, giving them some suggestions on road improvements, skywalks, tunnels, last mile connectivities. So in fact, we have done traffic studies to a certain extent in some key areas in Cyberabad where it is really affecting traffic, and we have proposed some solutions. Also through industry participation where companies were voluntarily coming forward to contribute and take up the work. Apart from this, we also have at SCSC what we have in terms of transport. We have she shuttles. We have introduced traffic marshals where companies have come forward and contributed some resources supplementing the traffic police in the peak hours to control the traffic and direct the traffic. The bigger issue going forward, because I represent a large IT park in Hyderabad where we house around 70 to 80 companies. What we have seen over last year, one of the question in our RFP when we are entertaining a customer to Hyderabad is a traffic issue, which was never there all these years. We need to address their concerns and saying what is the solution we are providing to ease the traffic and all. So I think in the coming days, this is going to be a serious issue for our city, which we had advantage all these years. Unless this is get addressed, I don't think we will not take the growth what we have been enjoying all these years compared to other cities. So I think there should be a lot of involvement from the government side as well, because so far what has been, we have seen as the traffic as one of the component of a municipal solution, but until this is isolated and treated as an individual with some support from industry and experts and put on a pilot thing, I think we are going to have problem.
Thank you. Thank you for your response, sir. Giving 12 minutes to convene a discussion on road safety is like directing us to drive from Hyderabad to Delhi in 1 hour. So, we can't finish off all the entire discussion within 15 minutes. But nevertheless, I have a short couple of questions any of the panelists can answer. We have a lot of technology, lot of data analysis is also there. Cyberabad, it has specific analysis as to on which roads particular accidents are taking place. With all these technological advancement, analysis, data, do you think, can we change the human behavior, the response of road users while moving on the road? Do you think all these elements will help us in any way to reduce the number of road accidents and enhance the road safety? The question is open to all of you.
Yeah, so what you are saying is a valid question. We have data, but the issue is people are not willing to adopt. We are giving solutions, but I think somewhere time will only teach them. See, if I look at the Mindspace where we have 110 acres, 160,000 employees, where we give all facilities, direct connecting to the metro station to the buildings. They don't have to come down. They have to just walk on the skywalk. But they would not prefer to walk. Even 500 meters, 700 meters, they are not walking. The companies are providing a pickup vehicle at the station and they are taking them to the building. So I don't think it's the data which is not available. Everything is available, but I think it's adoption has to be there.
I'd like to follow up to that. That's a very interesting point because humans by nature take the path of least resistance. Even when you join a new company, they have this mandatory training you have to do. It's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something, right? Employees put it off till the last day, right? It's a compliance thing. So people don't voluntarily like to do or learn anything new, even if it's for their own good. And I think that's where the RTA comes into place, because they have the authority to mandate it. You see, there's no optional. You want a license, you have to learn something. So I think that way Telangana is the first state which is moving forward in that direction.
One small addition I'll do to this thing. Technology we are having these days, I don't think it is the only thing which can help us to make the people aware. It is, but definitely it is one of the parts. For example, Suresh Reddy garu he pointed out about the enforcement, that the fines which we are imposing, they should actually pinch the pocket. Only then the people will learn. That is true. That I agree with that thing. But the problem is we are doing contactless enforcement now. The e-challan, whatever it gets generated, you get notified of it, that you have an e-challan over your vehicle. Later on, the general mindset of the public is that why should I pay? For example, with several people, common people whom I had a conversation with. So I just asked them, why are you not paying your challans? They simply say, why it is my head, whether I wear a helmet or not, how is the government concerned? If I die, it is only my loss, my family loss. Why are you bothered about this thing? Why should I pay the challan? So there is a proposal, small proposal, just sitting here only, I was just thinking about it. In this enforcement thing, why can't we link it with the FASTag? Suppose you are violating a red light, every vehicle has a FASTag now, we can link with it directly, so that immediately it gets cut from your account. Immediately you will see the message. So once the fine deduction happens, second time it happens, third time it happens, at least fourth or fifth time somebody will feel the pinch. Oh, again and again it is happening, I should stop doing it. So immediate penalty kind of thing, if that can be imposed, I think definitely this way technology will actually help us. Similarly, on the ORRF we are going, it's always showing that speed limit is 120 and your speed is whatever, 80, 90. So rather than that, we can write a congratulatory message that congrats, you are well within the speed limit, you are a road safety contributor, this thing. So this kind of positive encouragement, positive reinforcement, if we give to the public, then definitely they will spread this message far. So technology is actually an enabler which we can utilize. We have mooted these ideas to HMD also, so let us see what happens.
Yeah, this one question has raised too many further more questions. So I think our audience will become more impatient. Let us not hope will cause any accident here. We'll wind up. It's a wonderful discussion. Hopefully we'll go to the next one. Thank you so much, all the panelists. Thank you.
Ramu Garu, can we please have the mementos to be given to dignitaries? And I know it is very less time to discuss such a crucial topic, sir. We'll definitely have a more bigger audience and bigger time to discuss in detail, as this is the curtain raiser event of the larger event that we'll have soon. In the interest of time, while the mementos are being given, I would like to just introduce about the next panel that we have. We have spoken about how we live, how we connect, how we move. But there is another question, how are we living? We have added technology to our lives, we have added convenience, we have added years, but have we added health? Because a truly safe community is not simply one where people are protected from danger. It is one where people are healthy, aware, prepared, and supported. And that brings us to our final conversation of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are we really living healthier? And what can we do collectively to build healthier communities? To lead this conversation, may I invite Ms. Madhavi Siddham, health correspondent TV5, along with other distinguished panelists. Can we have the bouquet, please? Can we have Ms. C.N. Rao to please give the bouquet to the moderator? Sir. And while the bouquet is being given, can we request our panelists, C.H. Srinivas, IPS, DCP Srilingampalli, Dr. Chinna Babu, Joint Secretary, Healthcare, SCSC and Robotic Surgeon, Virtusa Hospital, Mr. Rajesh Vecha, Founder, Hyderabad Runners, Dr. Lahari Surapanni, Founder, Nutriful U. I understand you are between the dinner and us. I request you to please keep it a little shorter for the interest of everyone. I know it's a very crucial topic. We'll have a larger audience and a bigger event soon
in the recent future? Thank you so much. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Naveen. First of all, I am very much privileged and honored to be here as a part of moderator of this panel discussion. And hearty congratulations to SCSC, Society for Cyberabad Security Council, which works for safety, security, traffic, and women's safety, cyber security, safety, and community well-being. Under that part, we are going to discuss about how healthy we are living. Really, health means not just absence of disease, but also physically, mentally, spiritually, and socially well-being. That's what WHO also explained. But how healthy we are living? How can we build health by collective actions? Let's discuss. I would like to invite all our distinguished speakers, that Chinababu Sunkavalli, robotic surgical oncologist from Yashoda Hospital, and I think he is also health joint secretary for SCSC. Welcome, sir. And Dr. Sorry, I always say Dr. Srinivas Garu, Serlingampalli DCP, and Rajesh Vetsha Garu, founder of Hyderabad Runners. Almost 2 decades ago, he founded it. Hearty congratulations, sir. And Lahari Surapaneni Garu, founder of Nutriful You, chief nutritionist. Welcome to our discussion. First of all, I would like to pose a question to Dr. Sunkavalli Chinnababu Garu. We did several shows almost for the last 15-20 years in TV and TV5. This is somewhat different and quite interesting for me too. Sir, we are always afraid of infectious diseases, but we never think about non-communicable diseases and chronic diseases and about mental health. They are very much rampant, and we have to pay a lot of attention. And when we face them, instead of getting them treated, what kind of actions or preventive measures we can take, and what SCSC also can play in that?
Thank you, Madhu Garu. In the interest of time, I would be very brief. I think the problem is real. We have a late diagnosis of many of the non-communicable diseases, maybe because of lack of awareness or lack of access for screening. So because of which 60% of the out-of-pocket expense today, people are able to spend, there's a financial burden and the outcomes are not good. May it be cancer, cardiac, or hypertension and diabetes. So given that, I think SCSC as a platform can do what it's been doing in the last few years. I can share you today afternoon, a gentleman when I was in Sangareddy came and fell at my feet and thanked me for what the goodness that SCSC gave in his life. I was asking, why are you crying and hugging me? He said, during COVID wave 2, Project Ashray, I was admitted and I was taken care, and I got a new lease of life, and my family is surviving because of that good deed that was done through SCSC. So in that sense, SCSC is able to reach the community to serve in these occasions. So I would say our emphasis should be to prevent NCDs and mental health. That's where I think our chairman sir is putting so much of emphasis, because these are the 2 biggest challenges that we have. Focus on screening so that you can diagnose the disease early, so that prevention is better than the cure. We all know that early detection saves lives. That's what we've been doing for the last 2 years, because health vertical is the newest vertical, and we've been able to make some difference. Close to 85,000 people, we've been able to not only create awareness, but also do the screening. So I think 4 important things: unhealthy diet, tobacco consumption, excess alcohol, lack of physical activity. These 4 are modifiable risk factors, which can be, which can prevent 80% of the NCD deaths. So if we can focus on these 4, we can prevent these NCD deaths. Thank you.
But the worrisome issue is today itself in newspaper I read, sir, non-smokers also getting lung cancers. Such things are really disturbing.
Yeah, it is indeed true. So there are other factors other than smoking alone for lung cancer, so including stress. Yeah, we need to look at that.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to shoot a question to Rajesh Vetsha Garu. Sir, yeah, it's regarding fitness. Yeah, when marathons and running all there, people are participating largely, at individual level, what do you suggest for community health?
Yeah, thank you. So first thing is the concept of fitness. Previously we had one thing, how can we change the way we move? So the first thing is the simple idea of walking. So that itself has become a very big challenge. And our fitness problem is increasingly because of public health, productivity, urban planning and economic problems. So while what has happened is traditionally what we were doing has been replaced by urbanization, motorization, everything. But we are not replacing what we were doing through any other means of fitness or recreational activity. So that is the biggest challenge. So what we at Hyderabad Runners are trying to do is just to make people lead an active lifestyle. So the burden of inactivity is very, very high on us. So that is the reason inactivity leads to the burden of NCD, non-communicable diseases and everything. So today, unless, when we looked at the previous session, it was about traffic, it was about everything. The simple act of walking and making it easier for people to move around itself is the biggest challenge we face today. And the more we do this, the entire thing of community health and community well-being will come in.
Yeah, that's why it is said sitting for long hours is equal to smoking.
Smoking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, sir. Dr. Lahiri Garu, nowadays people are paying much attention to nutrition, what to eat, what not to eat, and then nutritionist itself, subspecialties are also picking up. We have been watching functional nutritionists and several things. What do you suggest, ma'am, regarding nutrition and in our day-to-day for living longer, to face our lifestyle diseases, and what kind of meaningful changes we can make in our nutrition or eating habits?
So it's not the lack of knowledge or awareness that we make unhealthy choices or relatively unhealthy choices, but it's more of habitual choices that we make that result in the outcome of health. So anything that we do repetitively, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, that is the outcome you're going to see. If you want to be healthy, you have to consciously make a healthy choice every single time in every single meal. So it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect 100% of the time, but you have to have the intention of making the healthiest choice available and being mindful of how your choices are. So when it comes to eating, right? What is healthy and what is not should be the first question. There is never black and white. The same food can be healthy in limited portions and not so healthy in excessive portions. Something as simple as drinking water excessively also could kill you, and we all know how important water is for our survival. So we should never stop at whether this food is healthy or not, but also move to the next step of, is this quantity or is this portion healthy enough or not? And when it comes to foods like excessively processed food, highly processed food, and deep fried oily foods, and foods that are sweetened, like, that are not naturally sweet. Something that you need to add sugar or jaggery or honey or any of the sweetness to make it sweet. Such foods also restrict the consumption. Every time when people talk about health, they're like, I just want to give up sweets, or maybe I have to completely stop eating everything that I like. That is a misconception. Make very simple rules. Focus more on what you should be doing. Increase the amount of unprocessed or limited processed foods. Include a lot of fruits and vegetables in your daily diet. Eat at a timely manner. Eat the portions that are necessary for you and don't go beyond that. Move as much as possible. Limit alcohol. Avoid smoking. So as long as you stick to these simple rules and try to stick to these majority number of days, that's enough. Don't complicate it, and don't try to make 100% every day. So,
Strictly no to alcohol?
I mean, that's what I would say, so.
Yeah, sometimes we hear wine is good for heart, like that.
Absolutely not. There is enough of evidence, and then even WHO also is, put the recommendation forward that no amount of alcohol is safe. There is risk involved, but then it's up to you. It's an informed choice. As long as you know there is risk involved, it's up to you to take the risk, right? So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Srinivas sir, every profession has its pros and cons, and everyone will be having, even the person who sits at home also faces stress. But you people, the frontline workers, police personnel, you always work under such an environment which is super pressure and stressful. How well you can maintain physical and mental health, and how can you take the help of others and organizations, how they can help you to keep yourself up?
Yes, being a good evening everyone. Police law, the physical fitness is inevitable for us because crime happens anywhere, anytime to anybody. So around the clock, every day and 365 days, we must be alert and active. So physical fitness is a must for us. And if a thief is running, the people around there will be screaming the thief, thief, and chor, pakado, pakado. But being a police, I cannot say pakado. I need to run faster than him, and we need to catch that fellow, right? So physical fitness is important. And the next one is long working hours is another challenge for us. We don't know when to pack up our this thing. Everybody here, they know at 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock even you work, you can schedule your life that you can start tomorrow morning. But police officer being in police, whenever a call comes, then we get up. Generally, whenever I wake up and take call, my wife asks, "Well, Allah," and you should go. Then in 30 years of my life, she never asked me, "When do you come back again?" That is the challenge. The prolonged hours, right? Working hours also. Like now ensuring Ganesh also, all police officers, right from Commissioner of Police to ground home guard, we stand minimum 36 hours on the roads, irrespective of the climate conditions, to complete the Ganesh processions and all. This is the prolonged working hours is also one of the other challenge. And third was is uncertainty. When to pack that. I don't know when, at what time I can go home. And, unfortunately, the climate is also doesn't support here in Hyderabad. Whenever I pack myself to go home at around 8 o'clock, the rain starts and the traffic jam. Never that rain comes in the day. I'll wait, pagala aipotadi, evening intiki vellachu. No, the moment when we police are exhausted and start packing up my bag to go, then the rain starts. Then again, in that way, in that context, yes, there is a physical, there is a very much requirement of maintaining the physical fitness. But in police, we maintain, we do parades, and we have discipline which is inculcated during our training period. We practice the best practices we follow, and our officers also facilitate. To tell you one thing, one good initiative by beloved CP sir. All the people will come at 10:30. All the employees will assemble in our hall, and they do meditation for 10 minutes and then go for work. I don't think, except in Cyberabad, nowhere this practice is there. But just because of CP sir, this initiative taken up by him only, right? Such practices, this is a leader-oriented guidance, okay? Then, because of this uncertainty, we feel another challenge also. My wife tells me that whenever I propose a movie, we'll go to movie means, then my wife says, no, that waste 3 hours time to you and money also wasted. Till my daughter told me, I didn't understand. My daughter told, even if my mom doesn't like to go for a movie with you, because anyway you will pick up 10 calls in that movie and 4 times you will come out of the theater. Na? That's why she's not interested. These many challenges are being faced, right? This uncertaintiness and the prolonged working hours and all this physical fitness is important for us, and mental well-being also. Every one of you must be listening some Lakshmi Stotra and Hanuman Chalisa and all every morning. You people will just to soothe yourself and start the day. But all the police officers, including my CP sir, we attend 2 teleconferences, right? The first line I listen is, last night 2 people died on the road accident and 2 committed suicide and all this. I think none of us in the hall will prefer to listen such sentences with a lot of negativity, right? And again, the all garbage dumped in my head, and then I report the same to my CP sir and CP sir to DG. The same scenario in the lifetime. Since last 30 years we have been facing this. And another, it is unsaid, but to avoid nuisance, that sound pollution, we go generally, I sit in my bedroom and lock the door and start attending the conference. My kids will come, peep into that, Papa, bye. Because if they say loudly, Papa, bye, neither daddy, bye, it will be disturbing the conference. In that scenario, we work. This is mental balance is also required because of this type of challenges we face. Generally, you may not come across these challenges, right? And finally, when I come to the public interaction, the police only deal with the people who are mentally imbalanced position. That is, emotionally imbalanced people will approach police, right? In that state, they will come. They will give some colored versions. But we are expected to decide then and there who is right or who is wrong. Even in a road accident, the moment the police officer visits the scene of offense, what do you expect? Then everybody will be projecting their colored versions. The police is expected to decide then and there. Then the moment I tell, and based on my perception, if I decide I take a one-side stand, the other people start attributing all the nonsense, the political attribution and corruption, everything. His imagination goes beyond the Himalayas, and all these challenges we face. Yes, we mentally balancing also, it's very much required. The organizations or corporate sector can help by way of identifying the problems being faced by us as well as the community and coming up with their solutions with their vast knowledge and exposure. Okay, as the SCSC is doing, like you are analyzing the traffic and coming up the innovative solutions like this thing, and you can also participate more actively in campaigning, creating awareness in such activities. And thirdly, you extend support, logistical support, like you are giving, SCSC giving us the traffic marshals and cranes and all, that's also. And finally, all corporate sector or media people need to uplift or focus that at least project the SCSC positively, and the contribution by the police also positive note. Thank you.
Really, one can understand what you go through in a day-to-day life, sir. One big round of applause for their service. And even doctors like this also, the surgical oncologists, every day they deal with cancer patients. Really, it is a tough job for them too. A few departments, really, they face, they start their day with negative news. Really, it is very tough job. One big round of applause to all of them. And one last question, short and crisp question, sir. How do you see after 5 years ahead down the line, Hyderabad's health, meaningful insight, and how the people can make the changes to become more healthier?
Ma'am, I feel it should start in educational institutions, right? నేను ఏమనుకుంటానంటే మన మొత్తం బాడీని మైండ్ని మనకి ఎలా దిస్ ఈస్ ద వరల్డ్ ద బెస్ట్ మిషన్ బట్ వీ డోంట్ నో హౌ టు ఆపరేట్ ద కీబోర్డ్ రైట్ బట్ వీ డోంట్ టీచ్ దట్ ఎక్సెప్ట్ మ్యాథ్స్ సైన్స్ అండ్ స్టైలిష్ ఇంగ్లీష్ నో బడీ ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు టీచ్ దట్ how to operate ourselves. This is first. And second, we come across lot of challenges. But better to throw a challenge from your side. Don't take food after 8 p.m. Right? If the midnight biryani, midnight ice cream, this is only the problem, na? Then that's what I expect. That challenge we should take up, no food after 8 p.m. And so the hotels will go up and the adulteration will go down. Then the hospitals, number of the hospitals and patients also will come down. I expect in next 5 years this.
One thing that I can say is we need to institutionalize preventive screenings. Last month only we lost our beloved EC member to have he passed away because of massive heart attack because he didn't undergo preventive screening. So in the next 5 years, probably I think that could be one way we can reduce the NCD deaths by institutionalizing preventive healthcare, preventive screenings. And probably one more thing is, one small line with what I will close. If you can reduce your mobile time and spend this to be more mobile, you'll be more healthy. Thank you.
Yes. Digital toxicity should be reduced. Yes, sir. Well said. That is very important. Yeah, Rajesh.
Yeah, next 5 years, if we don't change the way we look, we walk, we move, and be conscious about this, 60% of India is going to be inactive. And this inactivity burden is going to reflect in everything from productivity, personal health, to your, sir was talking about community and well-being. So all this will come in. So simple things we don't do. I mean, it's a very simple thing which we all evolved with, and that's become the challenge that Supreme Court had to step in to say that walking is a fundamental right.
Yes.
It's like telling breathing is a fundamental right, drinking water is a fundamental right. So they have made walking as a fundamental right, which is so difficult. The urban design which we have is just to prevent everything. So we spoke everything about how people move, but we have lost the basic movement, what we have evolved. In the next 5 years, if we don't address this, all the challenges which we've had discussion in the first session to now, it'll be even more.
Well said, sir. Lahiri garu. So to add to what Srinivas Garu said, first of all, it has to start with the educational institutes, at least a little bit of introduction to what are healthy habits with respect to eating. And then comes all of us being mindful at the dining table at least one meal a day. We don't even need to consider every single meal. Pause before you eat. Think of where your food is coming from, whether it is going to do you good or not. And then look at the portion size. Just be mindful at least one meal, one habit. And finally, about consumption of safe food. Availability of safe food and availability of healthier choices is what I look forward to in the next 5 years in Hyderabad.
Thanks a lot, Lahiri Garu, Rajesh Garu, Chidababu Garu, and Srinivas Garu. That's very meaningful, insightful discussion. Thanks a lot participating in this discussion.
Thank
That's
you.
the end of
Thank
this
you, Madhu Garu, and all the panelists. Can we please have Dr. Ramesh, IPS, to give away the mementos? And while the mementos are given, this is the end of our panels that we had, and from here we'll move to releasing of the media briefing book and the logo that you may already have seen on your mementos that were given. So ladies and gentlemen, 4 conversations, 4 dimensions, but one larger idea. A safer community is one where people can live, connect, move and thrive with confidence. And that has been the journey of SCSC. 20 years of learning, 20 years of partnership, 20 years of responding to challenging world. And now we mark the journey with something that will carry forward the story forward. May I request the SCSC EC members to please join us on the dais for the unveiling of the Enabling Enterprise 2 Decades of SCSC Media Briefing Book. Sir, we request you to please stay put, sir, for the release of the book. SCSC EC members to please join us on the stage, along with the DCPs. Can we have DCP Ritiraj Madam, Shashadri Madam, Sanpreet sir to please join us on the dais for the unveiling of the book. Please, Patricia. Can we have the DCPs on the dice, please? So, ladies and gentlemen, a new identity, a new chapter, and a story captured for the years to come. We now come to one of the most special moments of this evening, the SCSC 20 logo unveil and the release of Enabling Enterprise 2 Decades of SCSC. '20 is a wonderful point from which to look back, but perhaps the most exciting question is, what does the next 20 years look like? Because the challenge ahead will not look exactly like the challenge we faced yesterday. Technology will evolve, cities will evolve, threats will evolve, and our approach to safety must evolve with them. SCSC's journey has always been anticipating changes, building partnerships, and acting together. And just like that, we come to the end of the evening, but certainly not the end of the story. 20 years ago, SCSC began with a partnership. Today, the partnership has grown into a wider community, working across many dimensions of safety. And if the last 20 years have taught us anything, it is this: safety cannot be built alone. It takes the police, it takes industry, it takes institutions, it takes communities, and it takes citizens. And sometimes it takes all of us in the same room, asking the right questions, finding better answers together. Tonight we celebrate the journey, we heard different perspectives, we unveiled the next chapter, and we look towards the road ahead. 20 years completed, the next chapter begins today. Ladies and gentlemen, to formally conclude this memorable evening, I would like to thank everyone who has been a part of this journey and invite you all to continue being part of the next chapter of SCSC. Thank you for being part of SCSC at 20 years. And here's to the next 20 years of partnership, purpose, safe communities. Good evening. Dinner and bar is already open. Please serve yourself but before we disperse, one final invitation. The formal program may be over, but the conversation don't have to be, because some of the best ideas don't happen on stage. They happen around the table. Thank you so much as we celebrate 20 years of SCSC. Many congratulations to one and all who have been in this journey.
To SCSC. Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray! So thank you so much. Can we have the SCSC team to join us for the photograph, please? The SCSC Secretariat team to please join. So let's please continue the conversation, reconnect with old friends, make new connections, and most importantly, celebrate this milestone together. The first 20 years gave us a story to celebrate. Tonight we begin writing the chapter yet to come. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful evening and thank you for being part of SCSC 20. Thank you. Why didn't you guys join?